Yeah, I think he's too smart. He's too smart to talk to regular people. Boom! Powerful big wave surfer. How are you, buddy?
I'm great.
We just got back from playing a little techno hunt.
We did, man.
Greatest thing of all time, right?
I was just saying, I don't care what the price is. It's worth it. It's a bargain at twice the price or whatever it is.
Yeah, for people who don't know what it is, it's this game that it simulates bow hunting. So what it is a giant screen that's made out of Kevlar, and then it's got a projector, projects HD images of elk and deer. You can set it up for a bunch of different animals, but elk and deer walk across the screen, and you shoot at them, and it's like the perfect. We showed a little video of Shane doing it earlier.
It's really cool, man.
It's a perfect practice for bow hunting, because one of the things about bow hunting is you get nervous, and the more you could do something like this where you just shot a perfect shot, the more you could do that over and over and over again, the more it becomes ingrained in your nervous system, ingrained in your muscles, ingrained in your memory, and then it becomes natural.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
We're going to make this podcast about 15 minutes long and go back and shoot some more.
Yeah, that's what we're actually talking about, cutting off the podcast short just for that. So tell me about this movie, man. Yeah,
so I'm in LA for the HBO premiere of the Momentum Generation. It's a sports documentary that HBO and Robert Redford did. So it's cool, man. It's really cool. It's a story about my friends and I. We all grew up competitive surfers, and in high school we all sort of met each other through competitions, competing. So this tells the story of how we met, how we grew up, and how we became friends and family. Basically, like traveling around the world, together as basically like little kids with no chaperones on tour around the world. So
wow.
It's fucking crazy. It's a wild story.
Pull this up to keep this like a fist away
All
from
right.
your face. How old were you when you first started surfing?
I started surfing on a stand-up surfboard when I was 5.
And when did you start traveling to surf?
When I was 12, I went to England for the World Amateur Championships.
Wow.
So I was on the Hawaii team.
Doing this traveling surfing thing most of your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have. It's crazy.
That is nuts, man.
I've been putting my surfboards in a board bag and walking out the door with my passport since I was 12 and going to so many different destinations around the world literally just for surfing.
Wow.
Fucking nuts. This is such a crazy way to grow up. And that's the cool thing about the film is all of us had that in common. And it's crazy the way the story's set up too, because there's so many things in it that I didn't really realize were happening at the time. Like I came from a broken family, alcoholic father, kind of radical situation at home. And then like a lot of us had like broken families. A lot of us had that in common. So we sort of have like this weird fucked up family dynamic in common. So we all became sort of like our own family on the road. So we were competing for a world title. We were all competing and going around the world all the time, staying together. So we became best friends, like this nucleus of surfers. And we all just became ultra close. And then when things got really serious with the surfing competition, and there was a lot on the line with sponsors and money and big brands coming in, the shit hit the fan, and then we started like breaking up. It got too serious. It was almost like a band who just couldn't stand each other anymore, or things got too radical, or girls got in the way, or money got in the way, and so there was like this kind of like breaking up element, throughout our group.
Wow. I would imagine when you're living like that, those people must be so valuable for you, though. People that can understand your way of life because it's their way of life too. Because like to a regular person who commutes every day and goes to an office and comes home, like your life is alien.
Yeah, it is. I still get uncomfortable when people ask me what I do for a living. I'll be in like a normal random setting and someone will be like, "Oh yeah, what do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "No, do not ask me that," because nobody understands. It's like,
what do you tell them?
I tell them the truth, but I always tell them like it's really hard to explain, but I surf for a living. And what the fuck is that?
Yeah, do they go, how does that work? How do you get paid?
Yes, all the time. And I just go, I have no idea.
Well, you don't necessarily
check
compete any longer, right?
No,
you just
not at all.
Ride big waves.
I do. I ride big waves. That's my focus. And I also ride all kinds of waves. I surf every day. And the waves don't get big that often.
Right.
But when the waves are biggest, I'm on it.
Yeah. For a person that like is just meeting you for the first time and doesn't understand surfing and is trying to wrap their head around making a living riding the waves of the ocean.
It's like, how? Why? What? That's
like,
weird.
wait a minute. No, I went to accounting school.
and I don't have, there's nothing, I mean, there's not like another category I can really point to make the point go quicker. There's not like, it's like there's basketball players and football players and all of them are like scoring goals and getting these brand endorsements from competition element. So because I'm a free surfer who doesn't compete at all, it's hard to wrap your head around. But
that's even harder.
Yeah. Basically I have a large surfing profile. And so I work with a lot of brands and that's just the way it works.
And just sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this documentary, did they have footage of you guys from when you were really young?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they do.
Is that weird watching that stuff?
Yeah. Very weird. Because we're all in our 40s now. We all got kids. And for most of us, except for Kelly's still going. He's 46 years old. I saw him on your show the other day. It was pretty classic. But so he's like a focal point in the film. He's part of the momentum generation. And so there's incredible footage of him when he's 9 years old or 10 years old, and he's in Florida like a little rat, like a little sunburned rat. And it's neat. I mean, we all had that in common. That's we all grew up in different places, and then we all fell in love with surfing, separately, and then we all just became super tight. So
wow,
it was it's great. And then now we're all like best friends again because there's no points on the line or world title on the line or like brands getting in the way or girls getting in the way. We're all
yeah.
We're finally growing up.
That had to be strange though, to be so tight and then everything sort of get bottlenecked by the pressure.
Yeah. And you think surfing, how much pressure could there be? But, we're all trying to make a living, right? It's like, that was our dream to like surf as much as possible and see the world. And that's the only way you could do it for us.
Whenever there's competition, there's got to be massive amounts of pressure. Whenever there's someone trying to achieve something or someone trying to rise to the top of a profession and you're surrounded by a bunch, but you also must have pushed each other too. And it must have been beneficial to have people like you around as well.
I think it's part of, it's just, I think it's like part of our like human DNA to be naturally competitive. I think especially men, I think we feel like we have something to prove, like where we stand, like compared to the other guys, whether it was like in the caveman days or like the first hunters where it was like, for sure they were competitive to see who could bring home meat for the tribe. Yeah. And then it just, kept going from there. And then now we compete with whatever we're into. And, for us with surfing, we became hyper competitive. And especially me, like from the time I was like maybe 16 or 17 until the time I was like my mid 20s, I was like super competitive where I want to rip people's heads off in my heat. Like I would like visualize horrible things happening to them while I was competing against them.
Like what?
And it's so crazy how that's gone, 100% gone from my being now. I can't even imagine doing that. I'm like the most relaxed, non-competitive person. I have no competitiveness left in my body.
Well, I've only known you for 4 years or something like that. In those years, I could not imagine you having evil thoughts towards someone. No. You seem so chill.
I was a shit talker.
Were you really?
Oh yeah. I remember I was surfing against this guy, Damian Hardman. And he was like an Australian world champion. He was like an older generation. We were from the young, like new school generation. We were coming up, and there's these established guys who didn't want to, like be dethroned. And there was this guy, Damian Hardman, who was a badass competitive surfer, but he was a very like tactician, conservative. He'd never fall. He seemed like a nerd to me, you know what I mean? I was like this raw kid from Hawaii, and this guy was like so presentable and professional, and I just like resented it. And I was in a heat with him. And he got priority, which means that he had first right of wave. And I just needed a tiny little score to win. And he basically sat on me, which means he used his priority to chase me around the lineup and sit on me and keep me from getting a wave and let the time run out. Oh. And the whole time I was like, you surf like a girl. You surf like a little bitch. Like I was like totally shit talking him. And
did it work? Did he get you?
he got me because
He rode the timeout.
I basically cracked and started like getting emotional, and he loved it. He went, I got this guy beat. He started to shit talk me. He loved that he actually came up to me later and goes, I love it that you're that passionate. I love it that you got that psyched and that emotional where you just started like trying to like insult me. He's like, that's my goal when I'm in heats with people, is to get them to that point. You know, it must like, that's good. There's got to be a lot of parallels to the fight world, right?
Huge. Yeah. Well, it's also when you can get someone emotional, then they're fighting in particular is so dangerous. And so when you lose, you're not just losing, like someone's taking a piece of you, you know, because they're fucking you up. It's not just beating you on points. I mean, they are beating you on points sometimes, but they're punching you in the face to beat you on those points. You know, they're kicking you in the body. They're fucking your legs up. There's something about that that's so intensely emotional. Yeah. So when you're fighting, if you're fighting at your best, you have to be in like this sort of flow state, this sort of zen, not thinking about anything but what's happening and reacting and just going on your training and your instincts. And if you can get a guy to be angry and emotional, it will severely impair, for most fighters, severely impair your ability to perform. Yeah. Most fighters, they lose, they get tense, they tighten up, they look to wind up instead of just letting things flow. We were talking about this guy Stylebender who fought this weekend. That guy flows. Like when you watch him fight, he just flows. I mean, he walks into the octagon dancing. Yeah. I mean, like full on dancing. Right. Like popping and moving and
How's
strutting.
That mindset?
He just gets loose. And when he gets in there, he's switching stances. And but there was a mad shit talking session between these two guys for the last 6 weeks. Right. But he stayed calm through the whole thing. And you could see when the two got into the octagon, Derek Brunson just couldn't wait to just grab a hold of him. And Stylebender just avoided all that shit and wound up KOing him in the first round. But the emotional aspect of the shit talking and the tension that it brings, because it tightens guys up. Like we were talking about bow hunting. Like you see a big elk. You have one shot at a big elk. One shot. Yeah. You draw back your bow and you're like, holy shit. And it's literally a life or death moment. So there's all this tension. Yeah. And if you could alleviate that tension, that pressure, you would perform better.
The mindset is everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah, it's everything really with, I'm sure it's everything with golf. It's everything with pool. It's everything with anytime there's something on the line.
Well, what's fascinating is, like for you, like you've watched thousands of fights, like ringside, right?
Yeah, sure.
So like you must be like, okay, we're in the second round, and this guy is, you know, these two guys are like up and up. It's, you know, it's like a super tight fight. And you guys, this is a good fight. And there must be inflection points where you instantly know that one guy's going to lose. Like something happens with their psyche or something happens with you can see it in their eyes, you can see it in their body language. All of a sudden they lose that edge, that mindset, and they're basically have already lost, even though it's like right in the middle of the round. Sometimes, and then you see one guy just like...
One of the crazy things about fighting is it's so unpredictable. Even when you think a guy's going to lose, sometimes they come back and win by knockout, like out of nowhere. It's
I watched that
crazy
fight.
Sport.
Derek
Lewis?
Yeah, the guy with the awesome Instagram.
Yeah.
The big black dude.
Yes.
Dude, he was losing that fight.
Yes.
I'm not a fight nerd.
No, he was getting fucked up.
But he was losing. I'm like, dude, the guy's losing the fight. There's zero chance to win. Next thing you know, he won. Yeah, that was so exciting.
Volkov, the guy he beat, had just beaten Fabricio Verdum, who's the former heavyweight champion, beat him by knockout. So Alexander's the real deal. I mean, he was what I thought was the dark horse in the heavyweight division. But he stood in front of Derek for too long, and Derek hit him with a fucking bomb. He had hurt him earlier, too, because Derek hit him and knocked his mouthpiece out, and he didn't know his mouthpiece was gone. Yeah. So the referee was trying to give him the mouthpiece. Yep. And he's like, no, that's not my mouthpiece. That's his mouthpiece. And the referee's like, motherfucker, you don't have a mouthpiece. I'm holding your mouthpiece. This is your
mindset.
Mouthpiece.
He's in the zone, dude.
I don't think he was in the zone. I think he was in space.
Well, that's that mindset.
I think he'd already been clipped, you know?
But fighting... Like the nature of fighting is built for competition. It's perfectly suited to competition. Surfing's not.
Right.
Surfing, I think surfing is like the least suited for competition. I don't see surfing as a sport whatsoever.
Because when you're on the wave, you have to be zen. You have to go with the flow of the wave. You're not really competing against another person per se, even though you are. You're really riding the wave.
And you're being judged.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Because it's artistic.
By humans, yeah. But I think the single most important aspect of surfing that makes it not good for competition is you're dealing with Mother Nature.
Right.
It's completely unfair.
Right,
you know?
right. Like you might get an awesome wave, the next guy might get a shitty one.
Yeah, some kid who, on a scale of 1 to 10, their ability level is like a 3, can beat the, Kelly Slater in a heat easily. Because it's just like if that kid gets the best waves in the heat and Kelly accidentally falls, he loses, that's just the way it is. Where like if I was playing, LeBron James 1,000 games in a row, I'm never going to win.
Right.
Never going to win. It's impossible. But I mean, surf competition is cool, but I surfing is just as a lifestyle, as like a way to like stay sane and have peace in your life and meet friends. That's what surfing is about. Surfing's fucking awesome for that.
Do you think you appreciate it more now that you're not competing?
Yeah, I do. Because I don't see it as it's the surfing to me is tied to like only happiness and only like surfing with my son and his friends and surfing with my daughter and going to the beach and traveling to get epic waves. It's not about like pressure and points and a world title and sponsors putting pressure on me and me putting pressure on myself. That basically like the pressure part of surfing is gone, which is amazing. I still put pressure on myself to surf at a high level and perform at a high level to myself, and be able to like have an A game still for sure. I love that. I love the performance aspect of surfing, but the actual competition part is gone for me.
It's so cool though that you kept the love of it after the competition was gone, because one of the things that happens to it definitely happens to fighters. They retire and they get fat. They don't want to work out anymore because the working out was so torturous, and it felt so much like work that after it's over, whatever love they had for martial arts sort of goes out the window, and they start putting on weight. They don't want to train anymore. But you, even after the competition was over, you kept the love. Yeah,
I just, surfing is just a unique thing. I don't know how you can fall out of love with surfing. Surfing, from the moment I stood on a surfboard and rode my first wave, I knew that was who I was in my DNA.
Wow.
Like pure and simple. This is who I am. First wave.
My yoga teacher's become obsessed with DNA. My yoga teacher's become obsessed with surfing. And all of her Instagram now is just surfing. She just surfs every day now.
That's so weird.
Out of nowhere. And like 35 years old, she found surfing.
Surfing's a weird thing, but it takes it's there's not very many things that are really similar to surfing in that way, where you can fall in love with it being 5 years old or 80 years old.
Yeah, well, I would think being a yoga teacher too, like she's got incredible balance, right? Mm-hmm. Like having balance would probably really help your ability to pick that up.
You know what's cool about surfing is it's like if I let's see, if I took 100 people and said, all you guys are going to learn how to drive a race car, and you had like a 6-week course, just pure race car driving, 100 of those people are going to become really good at driving cars and going super fast and racing, and they'll have this really accelerated learning curve and get pretty damn good at it. Snowboarding, yoga, like almost anything. Surfing, I know people who have been surfing for 3 decades and they suck. I'm serious.
What is it?
They've never gotten a tube, like in the tube. That's like the holy grail of surfing, like riding inside the waves, like in the center of it. Surfing's freaking hard, man. It's like I don't know. But it doesn't mean you have to be good to enjoy it. Surfing's awesome no matter what level you're at, and that's the beauty of surfing. But surfing is hard to do, man. It's really hard to get good at. So that's why you get people surfing, 5 years and they're pretty good, and there's people who surf 50 years and they've never been good.
But what is it? Is it a balance issue? Is it ability to adjust, your ability to correct while things are happening? Like, what is it?
I think a lot of it is like body awareness and just adapting to something that's changing all the time. Like, say it's like, say for instance, like basketball, the hoop's there, the basketball's in your hands. It's the elements never change. There's no variables really, besides some dude trying to block it. Or golf, you got the club, you got the ball, you got the hole. But with surfing, you got your board and you got you, but the wave's never the same. There's literally never one wave's not the same to any others in the world. And so every single time you're adapting to things that are changing in real time. like up to the like millisecond. The wave's changing shape as you're riding it. So you're never like reacting to something that is going to stay put. You're like anticipating the wave changing shape, and that's what you're going to, like, I'm going to do a bottom turn into a big turn or an aerial maneuver or whatever it is, but you're not reacting to something that's happening now. You're reacting to the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Now, if I was a guy who had been surfing for 30 years and I sucked, and I was friends with you.
You would still love it.
Still?
Yeah.
Really?
Surfing's awesome. You can be the biggest kook in the world and have the most fun. That's why surfing's so cool.
Is that what someone who sucks is called, a kook?
No. A
What's
kook
a
is
kook?
a kook is someone who has no awareness in the water. That's really what a kook is.
A kook.
If I'm out there surfing and I'm sitting out there and I'm waiting for a wave and you paddle out and I've been waiting for a wave for a long time, or some girl, 16-year-old girl's out there surfing and she's been waiting for, 15, 20 minutes, and you paddle out and you paddle right past her, and the next wave that comes in, you just turn around and go, you're a kook.
Okay, so that's
if you're unaware of
etiquette?
the situation. Yeah.
That's just being.
Yeah.
That's how people get in fights surfing, right?
Oh yeah, which is common.
Yeah. Well, a lot of surfers are really into jiu-jitsu. Probably pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
To pick a fight with a surfer.
Oh yeah.
What is that one guy's name? Joel, from Hawaii.
He's from San Diego.
What's
Joel
his name?
Tudor.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt.
He is.
Yeah.
And you would never know it.
He looks like so unassuming.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy who fixes computers.
He is, and he's a stony baloney, super skinny, hippie, cruisy dude with like stony eyes.
But he'll fuck you up.
He will fuck you up. But he's cool, man. He's awesome, and he's an incredible surfer.
Yeah.
Incredible surfer.
I've seen some of the footage of him surfing.
Amazing style and stuff, but
yeah.
He's very unassuming. There's Joel.
His jiu-jitsu is super legit, too.
Yeah.
I've talked to people that have trained with him. They say he's super legit.
He'll tie you up real quick.
And I would imagine that from that background, like surfing and that body awareness and the ability to adjust and change, that's one of the things about jiu-jitsu. Is like every role is different. You're rolling with different people, different size people, and your ability to adjust and change is always changing. I mean, it's always movement.
Right.
It's always
That's
weird.
exactly right.
You have to adapt to that weirdness of the movement.
So jiu-jitsu and surfing are, they totally have their similarities because you're sort of anticipating the guy's next move.
Yeah.
Which is very similar to surfing and the wave.
Now,
you're reacting to what that guy's going to do in the future, not to what's happening right that very second, right? A lot of times.
Right. If I was a guy that had been surfing for 30 years and I sucked, and I knew you, I'd be like, hey, Shane Dorian, what the fuck am I doing wrong? How do I fix this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there fixing it?
Surfing's not like golf where you need to get better all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
like if
you can enjoy it even if you suck. Is that what you mean?
Like if you're a golfer and you're I'm not a golfer, but if you're a golfer and your average game is like an 82, and I said, Joe, if you buy this putter for $1,000, your average score will be an 80. You're going to buy that putter because it's the freaking world to you to shave 2 strokes off your game.
Right.
That's the biggest thing in the world to improve. No one gives a shit if they're slightly better at surfing. All you care about is like waking up at the crack of dawn, having your coffee, cruising down to the beach, seeing the waves and reading the tides and the wind and like going surfing with your buddies and having fun. And then you go get breakfast and you get some breakfast tacos and go to work. That's the lifestyle. It like keeps people sane. That's why they do it. They don't do it to get better or surf super good or go really fast. And that stuff's fun, but I mean, I don't have any more fun than a guy who surfs half as good as me. We have the same amount of fun.
But I bet he wishes he could surf as good as you.
Yeah, for sure. And I wish I surfed as good as the best surfer on earth, but it doesn't make it more fun, which is that's why I love surfing. That's why it's so cool.
That's fascinating. So what does it make it more if you want to get better at it? If it doesn't make it more fun, what does it make it more? It does something. If it doesn't make it more fun, does it make it more satisfying if you're better at it? Like when you surf at a high level, which is important to you now.
It gives you more options because the waves get big.
Right, which makes you more fun.
So it's really difficult to surf really big waves with really low ability.
Right.
So when the waves get big and really heavy and technical, you can't go out there unless you have really good ability level. Like and unless you have a high ability level, you really can't perform in really great conditions.
Right. So like when you see the crazy conditions where you guys get towed out and you ride those 80-foot waves, that kind of
sure.
shit. No one who's goofy's doing that.
There's some goofy guys doing that because
Really?
you're using machines to
Look
tell
at
you
this.
into waves.
Is that you? Oh,
Yeah, that's
Jesus,
me.
Shane. Get out of there. Oh, fuck. That just gives me such anxiety watching this. How big is that wave?
I don't know, probably 60 feet on the face at the
God
start.
damn, son. Oh, what does that
Yeah.
feel like right there when it's over?
This part's cool. Watch, I get air on the way down.
Oh, my God.
You'll see my board goes completely in the air. Right there.
Oh, dude, you are so high. That is so high. That
Yeah.
wave is so giant. It's like 40 feet above your head right now. Oh my God, this gives me anxiety.
You know what's cool about surfing is in those moments, like, there's very few things in the world other than like, I don't know how to relate that, but like that moment right there for me was like the pinnacle of like who I am, what I do best. That moment, that wave coming in at that minute in my life where I was in the right square foot of the ocean when that wave came in, that was one of the best days in history at that surf spot.
Wow.
And I was there, I was prepared, I was healthy, I had the right board, the right equipment, the right energy level. I wasn't sick, I didn't have any, everything was just lined up, and the waves were lined up, and the swell was lined up, and the wind was lined up, and the tide was lined up, and I was in the perfect spot when that wave came in.
Do you watch that video all the time?
No, but every time I do, I remember all those things because it seems so much luck had to do with it. It's just like a alignment, the stars aligning.
That almost seems like something I'd want to watch every day. Like get the day going.
You know your first kiss from a girl?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Wow.
That like mind blown.
Whoa.
This is like an important moment in my life. I need to like have this moment in time frozen. That's what that is right there. And so I think as an adult, you very rarely have those moments left. I mean, like a really like mind expanding, mind exploding moments where you're like, holy shit, this is life. 100% life right now. And that's what I think we're all chasing. You know what I mean? Those people sitting in traffic outside right now, driving on the freeway, they're not having those moments. Not right then.
That's a real problem.
Yeah.
That's a real problem with life, is that people aren't having enough of those moments.
And when you're 75 yards away from that elk a few weeks ago, and you had an hour to really think about what you were doing and where you were in your life, and how you got to 75 yards away from this animal, and the whole year of practicing on the target and all the millions of arrows you shot and all the preparation, and then this thing stands up and time's ticking, and that moment's there for the taking, and it's so easy to fuck up, and it all happens the way that you hope to visualize it. Those moments don't happen very often, man.
No, they don't. That is what a lot of people like yourself or myself are chasing. You're always chasing these above average moments, these high level moments, these moments where just everything's elevated.
Yeah.
Like when you're drawn back on a big elk, there's not another thing in your mind. There's nothing on your mind other than your shot execution and getting it done, and everything's heightened and all this just pressure around you. Some guys shake. Like I've seen some guys drawn back on an animal and their arms are shaking, like they're shaking.
Yeah.
Like you see it in everything. So much anticipation, they could barely keep it together. I mean, that's what target panic is, right? It's like there's all this freak out juice.
And there's different, there's a lot of different levels.
Yeah. Well,
I've seen guys do that where they had a perfect shot, opportunity, animal standing 20 yards away, broadside, exactly what you pray for, and they get in the shakes and they have to let down.
Wow.
They don't even take a bad shot. They'd let down and just like, I can't do it. Just too much anxiety.
That's probably better than shooting.
Oh, it's much better.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
smart.
Yeah, it's better for the animal.
That's an aware person.
Yeah, it is.
But I mean, I think human beings are meant to have a lot of those kind of experiences. Those experiences make life richer and more satisfying.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like to people who love animals, like, oh, you piece of shit, you want to kill an animal and that makes life better. It's not that. Like I'm eating meat no matter what. I feel better when I eat meat. I believe it's healthier. I've had these discussions with nutritionists and scientists, and I just think it's better for you. I really do. And for me to get it that way is way better because I'm getting my meat along with this insane hobby that's super difficult to do. I mean, I could go out and just shoot a bunch of pigs with a rifle, and I could get my meat that way. And it would still be fun. It would still be thrilling. It would still be ethical. It wouldn't be the same, though.
It's not the same experience.
No.
I mean, do you hunt 100% just for meat? You can get meat at the store. Like the experience of those moments out there with your friends and under the pressure and just putting yourself in that position where you need to make it count. That's part of our human existence. That's part of what makes life worth living is having to I don't even know, but just where like, I don't know, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You can get meat at the store, but you can't get wild elk at the store, and you can't get it that way.
Yeah.
There's just such a giant difference between your relationship with the meat that you're eating. When I take an elk steak out of the freezer and I defrost it and I season it.
Your food looks amazing, by the way. Like really, really
good. Getting good at it.
Yeah, you are getting good at it.
Well, the week after you were at elk camp in Utah, we were there with Chad Ward, Whiskey Bent Barbecue on Instagram, who's a master chef. I mean, he's a fucking wizard. He's a pit master. He wins like those world championships and shit.
Yeah.
And he taught me how to cook it properly.
That's awesome.
And, it's all about doing it slow and then searing it afterwards.
Right.
And you just maintain
How
all
many
the
people
juiciness.
screw that up?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Even one of the guides was talking to me about, he said wild game's kind of tough. And we were like, well, how are you cooking it? He's like, well, I just throw it on the grill. Like, okay, you can't do that. You can't just throw it on the grill.
Or they cook it on high heat, too.
Yeah, high heat, yeah. Like
they basically sear it and then serve it. You're like, what? This is not sashimi.
Right. Well, you can, if you do it real thin.
Slice it crazy thin.
Yeah, you can cook it like that. And it's not bad. Yeah. But it's way better if you do it low and slow.
Yeah.
I've brought it down to 225 now. I like to cook it at 225.
Yeah.
I just set it at 225, and I'll cook an elk steak for fucking an hour.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You do
it
that on
takes.
Traeger?
Yeah, because if you set a Traeger at 225, you use a setting called Super Smoke.
Yeah.
And so it just fills the inside of the
Those things are so good for
smoker.
wild game.
Oh,
they really
fantastic.
are. Yeah.
It's all just, the beautiful thing about them is, the people don't know what we're talking about. A Traeger is a pellet grill. And these pellet grills, like this table's made out of oak, right? When they cut this table, they would take the sawdust from this table and they compress it. And just using the natural sugars in the wood, they create these pellets. And then these pellet grills, they have these worm drives that feed these pellets into a heating element, and the heating element it just gets hot, and then fire, and then a fan blows on the fire to keep the fire going, and it's all computer controlled, so it calculates the exact same temperature and it maintains that temperature.
So
it's so good, but it's just so pure. It's just wood and fire. No gas, no chemicals like on charcoal briquettes, or no bullshit.
Food tastes so good off the things too.
Fucking phenomenal.
Every time I have people over at my house and I cook wild game on my Traeger, I have these people like, what the hell? I need to get one of these things. I must have sold like 1 million of them already.
Once you learn how to cook with them and learn how to do it correctly, they have those little ones now.
Especially wild game, because wild game is really easy to screw up, and it's really hard to screw it up on a Traeger.
Right.
It really is.
Because of the fact that it doesn't have much fat in it.
Yeah. It doesn't dry it out, doesn't cook out the moisture and the flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you take yours afterwards and set it in a cooler to let it rest?
I don't do that.
That's next level.
Is
That's
it?
Next level.
See? Yeah. I'm getting gems here. I'm getting gold.
This is from Dudley. What he does is he'll sear it and then he'll cover it with aluminum foil and put it in a Traeger, or put it in a Yeti rather. Put it in a cooler and seal that cooler up for like 10 minutes. And
what's in the cooler besides the meat?
Nothing.
There's no like a little ice pack or anything like that to
you don't
cool
want
it down?
Ice. You don't want
You just
ice.
let it sit.
It's actually still cooking.
Okay, so I let it sit. I let it sit, but I don't wrap it up in
But if you wrap it in aluminum foil and then let it sit inside a cooler, the cooler actually allows it to continue cooking just a little bit.
Okay, so how many degrees do you take it out before it?
115. I like to take it out at 115, then I sear the outside of it, and then I seal it up with aluminum foil, and then I put it in the Yeti, and I'll let it sit in that Yeti for 10 minutes. So it's continuing to slowly cook. Because if you take something warm and you put it in the Yeti, it'll keep it warm.
Yeah.
And if you take something cold, it's just insulated, incredibly, fantastically insulated. Oh, yeah. And so it works with heat or with cold.
All right. I'm going to try it.
Talk to Dudley.
I will.
He's the wizard at this stuff. And he's constantly cooking wild game. Essentially, that's all he does.
He's a good cook.
He's a very good cook.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to his place?
He should be. He does a lot of hunting. He better be doing a lot of cooking too.
Yeah. He just drove all the way from Oklahoma to Kansas. He shot a deer in Kansas, drove from, or not Kansas, Oklahoma. Shot a deer in Oklahoma, drove all through the night in Oklahoma, and parked his truck and got into a blind in Iowa. I mean, he just lives it.
He's hardcore.
He's as hardcore as you get.
Yeah.
But that's all he eats. I mean, he's constantly eating deer and cooking deer. And
he loves cooking for other people,
Yeah.
like large groups of friends and family, and he's always cooking and entertaining. I love that about him. Like when we were on Lanai, he'd cook for like 10 of us.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Incredible meals, and everything was wild game. It was just freaking awesome.
That Lanai trip, man.
Yeah.
I look forward to that every year.
Yeah.
It's like a highlight of my year.
Yeah.
You know? When are we doing it this year?
I know, right? We
What
got to talk
week?
with
We gotta figure
dates.
out-
We got to
yeah.
talk dates.
We got to figure out the dates because that last year was so amazing to have everybody down there and
Yeah.
you know, and everybody
Such a good crew.
so fucking
Yeah.
cool. You know, Green Tree and
Yeah.
Cam and yeah, it's just awesome. And then the first year we invented the cat lady drink.
Yeah.
That one ridiculous
It's lived on too,
podcast.
hasn't it? Yeah. That was
I
ridiculous.
don't know. I think Dudley might be still drinking it. I don't think anybody else is. It kind of died off. Red Bull and wine and what was it, tequila?
That was a little bit ambitious. That was
Fucking nasty.
yeah, that
is
was a
what it
Dudley. That was a Dudley concoction.
Yeah, he was already hammered. He was just raiding my mini bar, just taking whatever's in there and pouring it.
Oh, he's like a mad scientist of the liquors, isn't he? He's not afraid.
That was such a fun podcast, though. We're
Yeah.
all just enjoying. There's something about Lanai too, where you can hunt in paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's such a small island. It's like there's not very many people there. The whole
Yeah.
island only has 3,000 humans.
And a shitload of deer
It's crazy.
around every bush. It seems like sometimes.
Yeah,
That's a great thing. Is it's so easy to screw up hunting those axis deer, especially with a bow. That it's so neat to go and like find your arrow, and then 5 minutes later you got a whole nother group to stalk.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, it's also the most ethical form of hunting because they
Yeah.
literally need to be hunted.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have to be. They don't have any predators. It's not something that some person who was a greedy person said, "Oh, I'm going to put all these deer on this island and I'm going to go hunt them." Now, they were brought there for a gift for King Kamehameha
Yeah.
in the 1800s.
And it doesn't take a wildlife biologist to tell you that the numbers will get out of hand if you don't hunt them.
Yeah.
Like when you're there, it's really obvious. That's a perfect example of how somewhere needs to be managed.
Yeah. And I know those guys on Maui have that project going on where they're hunting deer and then they're
Oh, yeah.
giving the meat to poor people, and,
Yeah.
which is the best meat in the world. I mean, it's such fun. Axis
agree.
deer is so delicious. And
That's a great program.
it's a
really
fantastic
good
program.
yeah.
What is the name of that? It's got some crazy name.
That's Jake Muse and the
Yeah.
and the Kahiki Nui project.
yeah, that's the
Kahiki
name.
Nui project.
See, you're from Hawaii. You can spit those words out.
Yeah.
My mouth is
Kahiki
like,
Nui.
"Ugh."
Yeah. It's funny. You
There
should
it
have
is.
Jake on the show. He's a really good dude, and he's got some great stories, and he's really well educated and knows his business really well. So he started a meat company.
Yeah.
So he does eradication in Hawaii because it needs to be done and needs to be managed. So
and they're on Maui.
yeah,
right?
and so he wanted to to be able to actually utilize that meat because these big ranches and golf courses and stuff they actually pay him to come in there and do it, and so he actually flipped it and figured out a way to start a meat company. So it's like a win-win situation because the deer need to be managed and he's feeding people. And then the Kahiki Nui project's totally different. Like he doesn't have a meat company for that, but he's able to harvest the animals in a really good way, and then he's able to utilize that meat by giving it to families who need it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
Again, it's meat that people would pay a shitload of money for. It would be like if you could buy commercially raised axis deer, it would be one of the most prized meats because it's such an unusual flavor. It's extremely delicious.
Yeah.
And people that don't like wild game and they were like, "Oh, I'm not really into venison. I would like to cook axis deer for them." I'd be like, "Just let me cook this for you and tell me what you think." Because I've cooked it I cooked it for my mother-in-law, and she took one bite of it and raised her eyebrows, and she
Yeah.
goes, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's axis deer." She's like, "What kind of deer is that?" And I had to show her a picture of it. She was like, "This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So delicious."
It's cool to baffle somebody with wild game.
Yeah.
If you can cook it right, especially axis deer. Geez, it's incredible. And how beautiful are they just in general? Just walking around, and then you get one, they're like, I don't know, they're just incredible animals. I think they're my favorite.
Your favorite to hunt?
Yeah.
Well, what I like about them is we generally go on this axis deer hunt like a couple of months before elk season, so you get all the jitters out of the way because they are like 7 times faster than you think an animal that size can be.
Yeah.
Like when they move, you're like, how did it even do that? Like, how does something move that fast? It's that
Matrix,
big.
dude. Straight Matrix.
Straight Matrix. Yeah.
And the axis.
Ducking arrows.
I'm probably going to piss some people off by saying this, but the axis deer in Hawaii are different. The
How
axis
so?
deer in Hawaii are different. Benny O'Brien, when we were on Lanai and he was hunting axis deer, it was very challenging. Very, very challenging. They were ducking arrows and Matrix. He was having a hard time, and he went back home, back to Texas, back to the drawing board, and said, "I got to go hunting." He went and hunted axis deer. First morning, shot a huge buck, and he called me and goes, "I shot a huge buck," and he goes, "But I got to tell you, they're fucking different in Texas, dude." The deer just don't react the same way. I mean, in Hawaii, Hawaiians, there's no season. The Hawaiians are eating that meat 365 days a year. They're hunting them with high-powered rifles all year long, Maui, Molokai, Lanai. And those deer they just react like crazy.
Yeah, they're living in hell. I mean,
Yeah,
every
they're
day
living in paradise,
they're
but-
living in paradise. It's also hell. Every day they're getting shot at.
There's a good reason they're paranoid.
Yeah. I mean,
And Ben said in Texas, they were just like head down feeding, chilling.
they had no
I was
idea.
like- he was like, dude, it's like a different breed.
But he was also there during the rut too. They must
Right.
get a little bit more
For
relaxed
sure.
during the rut.
And I'm sure they're switched on in Texas, but
Yeah.
in Hawaii, they're hyper switched on.
If anybody ever wanted to understand human biology, like male versus female biology, they should see deer and elk in the rut.
Yep.
To see animals in the rut that normally would be super spooky, afraid of everything, jumping at every snap twig, and they're just walking right up to people. Like they don't know what's going on. They're in a horny fog.
Oh, yeah.
You
They'll
see
look
that
right
video?
through you.
Yeah, do you ever see that video of the guy who taps the deer on the antlers with his arrow? He's got an arrow and there's a deer in front of him. He just taps
I
it
think
on
I
the
did see
antlers,
that, yeah.
and the deer's like, "What?
Yeah.
What?"
Think that would ever happen if it wasn't right in the mating
No.
season?
Yeah, once they get those throbbing boners, they don't know what the fuck's going on. They're just wandering around.
I saw an elk actually having sex this year. You ever seen that in real
Yeah.
life up close, like not through your binoculars?
Yeah, I saw it
I
once.
saw one at like 30 yards. And this elk, and they get up and mount, and then they go,
Bam!
bam, one big thrust.
Yeah.
I was like, that's how they get down. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's literally
And
like
he
a
was so-
power double.
Yes, and he was so proud of himself. And then he got down, and he was just like, shit, yes. Got that. Then he moved on. There was like 20 other cows right there that he had to service.
It's ridiculous, just wandering around. Yeah, I saw it from about 60 yards out. It's
It's crazy, right?
it's a fascinating experience just to be around them when they're behaving like that. They're screaming and yelling at each other and rutting and mating. It's because it only happens once a year for those animals. Oh, we're gonna see it right here. He
Oh
gets
my
on
God.
top. Look
Yep.
at him. Boom!
Wow. It's very climactic.
I would wonder
Very-
how accurate it is.
It's got to be accurate, man. They got to line it up.
Yeah, I mean, I
Did you
guess.
see him lining that up?
I guess he's lining it up, but does he really know what he's doing? He only does it once every 6 months or once every 11 months.
Must be frustrating, huh?
Yeah.
You can see why they all fight each other for it.
They rut for about a month, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
how cool is it how one bull, if he's a badass and a good fighter, he can have, like, the first bull that I actually arrowed with my bow, he had a harem of 45 cows. One bull. And there was like 3 satellite bulls, but there was one bull, and he had 45 cows with him that he was herding that were his girlfriends. And they're all basically in heat.
Yeah.
So they're like relying on him to service all of them 45 cows. And from what I hear, there's places where it's like there's like one bull for 80 cows. That's crazy.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's too
It's
much.
gonna be exhausting.
You really want like 3.
That's like Dan Bilzerian. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He's like a human bull.
Yeah.
Bull elk.
Very, very similar. You know,
Yeah.
isn't that his fucking logo?
Did you have him on your
bull?
show?
Yeah.
That's so good.
He's always invited me to parties. I'm like, listen, man, I'm married. I can't go to your fucking parties.
That seems
I
pointless.
just can't.
That seems pointless to go to a party of his if you're married.
I think his logo is a bull, not a bull elk, but a bull.
I think it's a goat.
Is it a goat?
It's a goat.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, it is a goat.
Who's your
It's a mouflon, right? That's what it looks like.
a mouflon's a sheep,
For
but
Ignite.
yeah, that's a goat, I think.
Hmm.
But So this is super random. Who's the best podcast you ever had?
Every time I think I have the best podcast, we'll have another one that's better.
I talked to
Don't
someone
know.
that I respect recently, and they said that the Elon Musk one was the best podcast ever
It's pretty damn good.
in history.
Yeah.
That one was rad.
Best podcast in history. That's
Yeah.
strong words.
Best podcast ever been made.
Well, he's such a unique mind. I mean, he just posted a video of one of the boring tunnels, first completed tunnels, and so the
Let's see
boring
that,
company,
Jamie.
yeah, it's an insanely long tunnel through LA, and they've been doing this only for a few months.
Yeah.
But apparently in December they're going to start doing this. Like, look how long this is. This is inside LA. I mean, this is an actual completed real tunnel that's underneath LA right now.
Okay, can we talk about how there's no like a prototype that we heard about? Is like all of a sudden it was just like how do you get who owns the land underneath?
That's a real good question. I don't think he understood what I was asking when I asked him that. I'm like, how do you do this? Like, who do you ask to do this?
Like all of a
He's
sudden
well,
he's
I call my project manager. I'm like, no, but
they
there's got to be
start digging
someone.
shit.
You're under someone's house. Yeah, like what if
It's under
someone
a
decides
city.
to make a well and they want to dig under their house to make a well and they go through the roof of your tunnel? Are they allowed to?
I love that there's humans like him that are thinking on such a massive scale that are trying to fix the biggest problems that humans are facing.
Well,
that have
guys
tons
like
of dough.
guys like you were out there riding waves, and I'm telling dick jokes, and this guy's digging holes under the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also sending cars into space, right? He sent his own car. He shot it into space. He's got SpaceX. He's talking about colonizing Mars. He's got a Tesla company that makes the best electric cars on the planet Earth. I mean, he's got so many different things going on simultaneously. I just don't understand his capacity for work.
He's trying to fix the energy, the energy problem. With, getting energy from the sun to power your house, to power your car, to power the cities, and it's crazy.
He makes solar panels now that are actually tiles for your roof, for your house.
That, a solar roof.
Yeah, incredible. Like you replace the tiles on your roof with these solar tiles.
Solar's freaking cool, dude. I just got it on my house. I got it on my house, and I have one of those Tesla Powerwall 2 batteries, and thing's insane. And it's got like this crazy smart algorithm that knows when like a hurricane's coming to Hawaii, and it'll like power up my battery to 100%, even if I'm not home, even if I'm not watching the Weather Channel. It just does it automatically because it knows it might need to back up my house.
Wow.
So all my elk doesn't go bad in my freezer.
So are you on the grid or are you off the grid?
I'm on the grid,
but you have the solar power as well as a backup.
Yeah.
So your power comes from the solar, and you could sell some of it back to the grid?
No,
They do that.
No, they used to do that in Hawaii, but I think they stopped it.
Oh, okay.
And the power companies weren't down with solar, really.
It's hard to establish solar.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's
is.
hard to get permits and everything to have your house set up. Like they try to make it kind of difficult for you.
They try to make it very difficult. Yeah, but it's pretty cool though. I've offset my power needs with solar by like 80%.
Wow.
It's great.
So you could conceivably just exist purely on solar.
Yeah.
Now you're on the Big Island.
Yep.
Now while all this fucking crazy volcano shit is going down.
How's that?
Are you freaking out about that at all?
Not freaking. I was freaking out.
Yeah.
So I live on the west side in Kona. The volcano is on the east side.
So is the east side, is that near?
It's just south of Hilo.
Okay.
And that's where the volcano was, but the wind, like the trade winds, blow east to west. So where I live, it looked like Shanghai for like 3 months.
Whoa.
The air sucked like crazy. It was like LA smog times 10. That freaked me out.
They call that fog, right?
Fog,
Yeah.
like volcanic haze.
Yeah, my daughter is severely allergic to that.
Really?
Yeah, we went to a store on the Big Island. We were staying at the Four Seasons, and we left and went down to a store to get something for a cell phone. She came with me, and she just started sneezing and sniffling, and her eyes were puffing up. I'm like, you okay? Like, what's going on? Are you sick? She's like, I don't know what's going on. And the guy at the counter said, it's probably the Vog. And I said, what the fuck is the Vog? He's like, it's volcanic smog.
Yeah.
And it didn't bother me at all. But
Yeah.
with her, she's allergic to cats and a couple other things, like make her sniffle.
It was bad for about 3 months where I live. It was
Whoa.
horrible. Yeah.
That's what it looked like? That's insane. That looks like Beijing.
You know, and the crazy thing was, you know, like if the wind goes the wrong way, then like Maui, Oahu, and it's all foggy, like all throughout Hawaii. But it was basically like that whole the volcano essentially had a crazy eruption for about 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And then now it just stopped, and the air quality is incredible where I live now.
Really?
Yeah, just
So it blew off.
blue skies, crystal clear, like just insane sunsets, sunrises. It's just beautiful.
So what did geologists say?
Best air quality in 10 years.
Really?
For sure. Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. Because there was like a constant eruption for like 25 years on the Big Island. But it was just kind of small, but it was continuously going.
Right.
But now it's like nearly shut down completely. So there's hardly anything going in the air.
So the volcano blew its load.
Did. Kind of like that elk.
Yeah. Bang.
It was lining us up for a while and just big old bang.
Wow. So the VOG's gone. So now it's probably a good time to go there.
It's a very good time.
Wow.
Come over and visit.
Does it fuck with the...
That's why I texted you. Just said, come over and hunt.
I was like,
We're going hunting.
I ain't getting hit in the head by a giant chunk of lava.
Oh my God, dude. Did you hear about the freaking boat that had a big, like a lava, like a
Boulder?
lava boulder
Yeah.
go through the roof of it?
Yeah.
It was like a spectator boat. Like
Yeah,
a,
they
like
were-
a tourist boat.
Watching the volcano.
Psycho, dude. They were
Yeah.
so close.
Yeah.
Do you have a
Whoops.
photo of that, Jamie, that you can bring up? It's nuts.
Yeah.
These tour boat companies, it's pretty opportunistic, you know. It's
Oh,
not it's
look
not
at that hole.
it's not easy to make a living on the Big Island, and so you get these
Yeah.
people that all want to go see the eruption, that all the lava going into the water.
Oh.
If you
But-
can look for a photo of the boat near the eruption, there's some images of like these boats that were like, they look like they're like 50 feet away from this mega eruption, like crazy. Really scary stuff, but you don't want to mess with lava, man.
Yeah, and especially when it's spitting things out into the air. Look at that.
Watch as molten rock adds
The Earth's pissed,
Oh,
dude.
that's when it happened.
into the air off the coast of Hawaii's Big Island Monday.
Well, back that up a hair. I want to watch it fly through the air and hit them, and I want to think, what would I do? Look at it flying through the air.
The time to think about what you would do is before you
Yeah.
get on the boat.
Yeah.
Once
how
you're on
the-
that boat, you're just locked in, dude.
That's crazy. The hole in the fucking boat roof. When you see the redness in the hole of the boat, just the hot shit just tore right through the roof.
Well, and all of these tour boat guys are competing, right? They're like jockeying for position to get the closest unobstructed view, so everyone can take videos and post it on their Instagram.
Wow.
But you're
23 people injured.
okay. Let's talk about if one of those like little like lava nuggets just happen to fly to you, just blow a hole right through you.
Yeah. What if it hit someone in the head? How about the guy next to you is headless?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there with your fucking camera out trying to get a selfie for Instagram.
But the thing is that everybody trips out and like, oh my God, this is unprecedented. This lava, can you believe this lava? This volcano's happening? I'm like, fuck, dude, are you kidding me? We live on an active volcano. That's where we live. I've born and raised on this island.
Yeah.
It's been erupting almost every day since I was born.
True, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of your life, that
Yes.
thing's been erupting.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can go almost any time of the year, any year, and see lava.
I
It's
found
pretty
out
cool.
about Kona because Terence McKenna used to live in Kona.
Who's that?
You don't know who Terence McKenna is?
No.
He's a very famous psychedelic, I guess you would call him a psychedelic speaker, a scholar. He was a botanist who, an ethnobotanist who set up this place in Kona, and he was off the grid, completely off the grid. Like he had
Is it ayahuasca
Oh yeah,
camp? A guru?
everything. He had his. I don't know what's going on with his old property, but I think some of it burnt down. There was a fire up there, and I think he lost like a. Oh no! The fire was up in Northern California. He had some of his books up in Northern California, but he has a place up in the Big Island that there was like 30 different types of psychedelic plants growing on his. He had like 10 acres up there. That's his spot up there. And he had,
Have you been in that house high as a kite or what?
No, I'm friends with his brother. I would like to go there. He's dead now, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like a pretty freaking cosmic joint right there.
Well, that's a weird picture, right?
That looks very
See that?
psychedelic.
Is that the regular picture? Yeah. Is it? He had a dope place. So he would get all his water from the rain. He had like these cisterns. I guess they would call them. What are these containers that catch rainwater? And he had everything, filtered that way. And
Looks like horny hippies.
There's probably some freaky shit going on up there.
Late night activities up there.
But he was doing a lot of lectures on psychedelics and really
That's cool.
One of the most influential speakers ever on psychedelics because he was so interesting, such an interesting guy to listen to.
A lot of people like that really gravitate to the Big Island.
Yeah.
There's something about the Big Island where we live that is just, it's alive. It really is. The island is freaking alive.
It really is
It
alive.
is.
Yeah.
And you feel that. And there's like an energy there. And there's people who are like, I'm meant to live here. I had moved across the earth to live here because it's like just pulled me here.
Oh, boy.
I meet people like that all the time.
That
Dude, your
would make
boy
me
in that
move.
freaking shack, he's one of those guys.
He is one of those guys. I mean, he's from Colorado. He was originally from Colorado.
Yeah.
But I mean, for him, he was like a bit of a recluse, and he would fly for 6 months of the year. He would fly and give these lectures in Austin and San Francisco and all over the world, really. And then he would fly back and live on the Big Island and write books.
It's a cool place to live, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love living there.
And if you're a bow hunter, it's not a bad place either, right?
It's not a bad place either. Hawaii is incredible for hunting.
Well, this is incredible for people. Everybody's got a really good attitude there. It's like it's more, I just got back from Manhattan, which I love. I love going to New York City, but every time I go there, I'm like, I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could live here. It's just it's too stacked on top of things. And there was this one thing that I'd seen there that I'd never seen before. They had like this rotating machine that you park cars on. So say if you parked your car in here, it would lift up like this.
Yeah.
And then your car would go like up here, and then underneath there would be like 30 cars underneath you.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
I seen that in Tokyo. Crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's...
And you can rent one of those spots, one of those car spots for like huge bucks in Tokyo.
I'm sure.
Like $50,000 a year.
Well, Tokyo...
For like for like a parking spot at your building where you live.
Have you been to Tokyo?
Yeah, a lot.
It's so condensed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a strange... It's another... Tokyo's strange, too, because it's so polite.
Yeah, I love Tokyo.
Yeah, it's like everyone's... It's almost like you're visiting an alien culture because I don't understand. I don't know what their writing is.
Yeah.
I see it, but I recognize it as Japanese, but I have no idea what it says.
Yeah.
And then the people, they're all like super polite and very orderly, and then everything's electronic, and it's almost like Times Square like with big. Like this is almost like a parallel civilization like on another planet.
And how the hell they get there? That's where they ended up. like if you look at the history of Japan,
Yeah.
it's the opposite of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
true.
Old school Japan is the opposite of that. Like all of a sudden, it was like this full-on, like forward technology, hyper futuristic civilization there now.
Yeah, that's a fascinating thing about Asia, period, right? Like Samsung and Korea, they make some of the best electronics in the world.
Yeah, and you drive just outside the city, and there's like rice fields everywhere, and people working with those cool hats on, and like everyone has no shoes and on there in the mud. Then you drive right to the city, and it's just like this giant electronic city.
Yeah, I wonder what it is.
Kind of cool. Good food, though, in Japan and all over Asia, but I love Japan. Dig it.
No, Japan's pretty... I'm just fascinated by the culture, period. I mean, that's obviously the birthplace of a lot of martial arts. Judo came from there, karate, a lot of... Whoa!
You have a towel?
Yeah, we're good. Right here. A lot of... got a little bit of a
Probably not the
spill
exact thing you want to be spilling into.
We're good, though. It hit the crack.
I was afraid that we were going to have nothing to talk about. That was going to be interesting, or we get stuck on like archery for like 2 hours. So I looked up a couple things.
What did you look up?
I was just like was geeking out in the car. Was that impressive when I just pulled up in like a big old Cadillac, like a black Cadillac with a driver, or what?
No, it's normal. That's what everybody does.
I thought that was really weird.
Why would that be? It's weird for you because you live in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do that very often, but
What do you drive, like a Tundra or some shit?
I do. I drive a Toyota Tundra from Big Island Toyota.
Everybody in Hawaii has a Toyota because they don't
Dude.
break.
It's a freaking state car.
It's the move, right? They don't break.
Yeah, they don't break.
They don't. I've had 3 Lexuses, Lexus SUVs. Those fucking things never break.
Yeah.
They never have a
Toyota.
single thing go
Yeah,
wrong
they're
with
amazing.
them. Nothing.
Yeah.
Zero.
They're incredible vehicles.
Yeah. They just.
Well, and you know, in Hawaii, you're going off road so much that yeah, I for surfing and hunting, I'm always going off road and camping, taking my kids and stuff. So you want something reliable, and you can freaking buy, you know, you can buy a Toyota truck for like 35 grand, and like 6 years later you sell it for 32.
Yeah.
The like resale value is nuts.
And it'll go for 200,000 miles.
Yeah, they're great
with zero problems.
Yeah, I drive a big Tundra.
That's the other thing that Japanese figured out how to do. Like, how'd they figure out how to make things so goddamn reliable?
Yeah.
You know? Is that you?
There's my truck. Yeah, that's me.
Dude, look at that. Lifted Toyota Hawaii.
That's my last truck.
Oh, that's
I got this
dope.
exact same truck now, though. It's a good truck.
You
That
just
thing will
keep
get you
getting
anywhere you want to
Tundras?
go.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
how
actually
could it not?
sponsored by the local dealership where I live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Big Island Toyota.
Shout out to
Big Island Toyota.
Look at the fender flares and everything.
That thing is
sexy.
that thing will drive straight up a mountain,
Oh, I bet it will.
and it'll hold about 10 deer in the back of it.
Have you ever seen that company called Devrolo? They take those things, they make them bulletproof, and they spray the outside of them with what is that fucking coating that makes them bulletproof?
I might need to get that for all the PETA people.
Do you get PETA people upset
No,
with
I
you?
don't.
You don't get any because hunting and surfing, you would think that they're both
I
of
do
the
get it,
earth
actually, I
and
do.
natural, but I would
Yeah.
think you would get a little bit of it just because there's a lot of granola crunchy people that get upset.
There's a lot of like dolphin riders in
Yeah.
the surf world that are like,
Right.
you know, we're from the where it's peaceful from the earth. Why do you got to kill the Shane? Why do you have to kill the animals, man? Let them live. I always get these guys. Let them live. Always.
I don't
Always.
think they understand that if you don't kill them, there's going to be way more problems for them if you don't.
Not only do they
sounds
not understand it,
counterintuitive.
but they're never going to understand it.
No.
And
That's it.
I used to consider like trying to explain that to people, but there's really not.
So what is there's a coating that it's like polyurea is the type of material, but there's an actual name for it.
Adam Greentree's got a really badass Toyota.
Yeah, well, he had his built.
His
he
is
had,
cool.
Like, the whole back area where the cabin is all like stuff.
His is not just looks though. He doesn't have like red wheels.
Right.
He's got like real shit, like refrigerators in there, and
Yeah.
and a friggin' shower to shower off all the mud. And we actually drove to his property, and it was so mudded out that it was impossible to get up the road because it was pure mudslide. And he used his winch to winch us up his road, like all the way up his road with a
Jesus.
winch. So cool. So it's just, I mean, the thing is like bad. It's actually good for something.
You know, he's been in America now for like a month and a half,
Yeah.
just hunting.
He's been almost getting killed in a tree stand the
Did you
last
see
couple of
that
days.
shit?
Hell yeah.
So
I
he's
was
in a tree
texting him going,
stand.
dude, get the hell out of that tree.
Yeah, if you go to Adam Greentree's Instagram page,
Hopefully
there's
he's still
actually a
alive.
video of it where he's in a tree stand. He's waiting, like he's trying to hunt deer, and he's waiting for a deer to walk by. And he hears guns go off, and then he hears the leaves crack because bullets are whizzing by his head and hitting the leaves next to
Literally,
him.
yeah.
Literally. And there's video of it. And he's like, what the fuck, mate? 'Cause,
He's fucking wankers.
yeah.
He said there's 200 gunshots in 6 hours.
Oh, yeah. Where is he? Kansas?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yeah, yeehaw. Yeah.
Kentucky. Not a lot of tundras in
Have you
Kentucky.
ever been to the Midwest during opening day?
If you drove a Tundra in Kentucky, it would need to be bulletproof.
Why?
'Cause-
They would shoot at it?
Yeah, it'd be like freaking.
they
You need to
have
drive
a
a
lot of
Chevrolet,
Toyotas.
man.
They have a lot of Toyotas down there.
Do they?
Yeah, they give in. Not only that, Toyota trucks are actually made in America, believe it
They
or
are.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, my Tundra was made in Texas.
Yeah, there you go. There's a lot of Toyotas are made in America. You know, the Acura NSX, which is a Honda, that's actually made in Ohio.
Yeah.
They construct. They designed
They
it and
make
constructed
Toyotas
it.
in Kentucky.
There you go. Holla at your boys.
See, I just
So they
pulled that
employ
out of nowhere.
people.
They do.
Well,
Hundreds
Detroit-
of thousands of people.
That used to be an issue in Detroit. If you were in Detroit and you were driving a
Right.
non-American car, they'd shoot at it. But now, I mean, so many car companies moved out of Detroit.
Yeah.
Started selling. They just kind of gave up on that.
Linex, is that the coating?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
Linex. Thank you. That shit, if you could take Linex is crazy. That black coating, that plastic coating that they put on those trucks, you can take Linex and cover a watermelon with it and drop it off of a building, and it'll
Serious?
bounce when it
That's
hits the
so cool.
ground. Yeah, so they take that matte gray or matte black sort of cover.
That thing looks sick.
That is Linex. And so these Linex covered trucks, they make them, and they also make them with Kevlar windows and door panels and bulletproof plates underneath them. They make if you're like just a total piece of shit and everybody wants to kill you, you get one of those things. Just drive around a Linex armored vehicle.
Well, how much of an idiot do you look like driving that thing around?
Pretty badass. You just wear mirrored sunglasses to tell everybody to fuck themselves.
I like I love the friggin' Linex, the whole thing. That's like
Watch
we're
this.
on Lanai.
Is that
They
a
had
watermelon?
Yeah,
Watch this.
it bounces.
Look at this. Boom. That's a watermelon, bro.
Yeah, I was thinking about
look
getting
how
my
far
truck
this
done
is.
with that
Look,
stuff.
Look at this. Boing.
Wow, almost like a basketball.
Yeah. So any scratches that you would ordinarily get from like branches and shit, like I bet the kind of travel that, look at this. It hits
I
the
was
ground.
thinking of doing that to my truck.
Do you get scratched up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
And I just like that you can just like pressure wash it. You don't have to worry about decals coming off. You don't have to worry
Right.
about anything. You just shoot the shit down and it's clean.
Yeah, one of our guides in Lanai had his truck was Linexed.
Yeah.
It was green, remember?
Completely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That was Alec.
It's good stuff. Yeah, Alec, love him.
Yeah, that stuff just doesn't scratch too. You can go over, somebody can key your
Yeah.
car and it just fucks up their key. It doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah,
good.
it's pretty impressive stuff.
How
But,
funny is it when you see trucks like mine here in LA? Is that funny or what?
Oh, there's a lot of them.
It's the
People
worst-
just
it'd be
want
the
to look
worst
like
thing here.
badasses. They just want to look like a killer in a lifted truck.
But you can't park in any like structure. You
That's
can't,
true.
You can't
Yeah.
go underneath like any underground parking.
But
You can't even.
you look cool. That's
You
what's important out here.
Yeah, you look cool in like gridlock traffic at like 5 p.m. on the 405.
Yeah, but you're above everybody. You get to
Yeah.
look down on them. Look at
Yeah.
these losers below me in traffic. I'm
I
all
got
up
my
here with
I got
good
my
air.
lifted monster truck.
LA is all. Is it a strange thing when you come from your place? I mean, what does the Big Island have? 100,000 people or something like that in the entire island, and it's the
Yeah.
biggest island in all of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And you go from there to here, where there's 100,000 people. Go to West Hills right here. There's probably 100,000 people for every like 3 blocks.
Yeah, it is weird coming here. I spent a lot of my life in California, actually, even though I was born and raised on the Big Island. Like, and every time I get off the plane, it's so baffling. The freaking LAX airport and getting on the freaking shuttle for the rent-a-car, and then getting a rent-a-car and getting on the 405, and everyone's going 90.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's always like an adjustment period of like a half an hour or so when I'm driving. I'm like in the slow lane, like, fuck, this is really happening. These people are going 80 miles an hour. And then cops fly by going 80 miles an hour. And everyone's going 80 and no one's getting stopped. And I don't know, it's just a shock.
Well, you're used to a place where people don't even pass people on the highway.
Yeah.
Like on those roads, if someone passes people on those little single lane roads, people get mad, right?
Oh, yeah. People get mad.
They get mad if you're going too fast. Like, slow down.
Yeah. Well, this ain't the mainland. That's
Yeah.
Hawaii is Hawaii. Like, I think we were talking about this on the last time I was here, but Hawaii is just it's a different kind of place where, yeah, you don't pass people just because they're going a little bit, slower on the highway. And if you do, you better make sure they're not the wrong person.
Right. Are they gonna fuck you up?
Yeah, you want to show respect
hide
to the
from
people,
them.
I think there's this dynamic in Hawaii where, everyone who moves there that's fine. I don't think anyone gets mad at that, but you just don't want those people to move to Hawaii because they love Hawaii and then try to turn it into California.
Right.
That's
Respect the
thing.
culture,
Yeah.
respect the way people act and behave, and then respect the vibe that everything is more relaxed. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why it's so cool to visit.
Yeah.
Because you literally feel relaxed when you get there because everything's relaxed. It's a different vibe.
People forget that though. People move to Hawaii for that, and then they move to Hawaii and want to turn it into California.
Does that happen?
They want to buy a big house on the beach and put a big giant wall around it and keep everyone out of the private beach and
Oh, do
have
they
like
do
their
that?
own little zone. And this is my zone and my stuff and my giant house. And you
Just
definitely
trying
get
to own the beach is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
Owning like a chunk of beach. Like, you don't own that bitch. Like, you decided to put a giant
They'll
house
try.
next to the ocean. Well, they have security guards in Malibu.
Yeah.
They try to keep people off of public beaches.
Yeah.
They say this is a private beach. Like, no, it's connected to the ocean, motherfucker. Like, your yard is the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, my friend has
It's fucked
kids. He has a beach house, and my friend has kids, and the kids surf. And the kids were surfing just, a few hundred yards from their house.
Yeah.
And they were in front of this guy's house. The guy comes out of the house fucking screaming at them, saying, "Get the fuck out of here. You're not supposed to be here." Like, no, you can't tell people that. Just because you spent a lot of money on a house that's on the beach doesn't mean you own the beach. You don't. That's the beach. It's the whole Earth's beach. Like, someone can come here from all around the world and walk on that beach. That's your yard. You fucked up. You bought this $15 million house that anybody could walk 30 feet from your house. Like, that's just how it is, dude. Sorry.
Isn't that weird that people don't get that?
Well, they're just
They
so
think that
rich.
they finally got in this super ultra rich category that the rules don't apply anymore.
Well, they're just trying
now that I'm
to
this rich,
scare
this
people.
beach is mine
yeah.
now.
They're trying to scare people off of it. So they've hired a lot of security guards. See if you can find an
How
article about it.
miserable! How miserable are those people? Imagine being that person who's like yelling at kids because they're in front on the beach.
Yeah.
That guy is living in his own personal hell. I don't care how rich he is.
Yeah, it's just stupid. Like if you live on the beach, you have to kind of accept that your house is next to this public park.
Yeah.
You're essentially living in a public park. I mean, you have this dope view. You get to look at the ocean, but
Enjoy that.
What's in front of your house is everybody's.
Yeah.
It just is everybody's. You can't own it.
It's never not going to be.
Yeah, and it moves. It goes, and that's one of the weird things that happened. Apparently, they did something in Santa Barbara. They did something to the ocean. They did something like they put up some sort of a barrier, some sort of break in Santa Barbara, and it affected Broad Beach in a crazy way. Like it pushed the water way closer. Because one of the good things about Broad Beach, I think they call it Billionaire Beach, was that these people, these crazy fucking houses, they had this long stretch of sand before the water, and then the water came way up, like to almost to where the houses are now.
Yeah.
So it's all gone. But now the people that utilize the beach are literally right in front of these people's houses, so they're fucking freaking out.
So crazy.
Is there any articles about, so these people have hired security guards to kick people off, and then people are getting together in these lawsuits against these people that own these houses saying you can't keep us off these beaches. And
I never want to be those people.
it's dark.
Can we establish that?
Yeah,
I just
I
want
don't
to
wanna
keep
be those people either.
I just want to keep going surfing and bow hunting and
how the wealthy are laying claim to to California's coast. Complaints have been streaming about security guards hired by wealthy homeowners removing people from public beaches. You can't. Those security guards, they can't do anything. Like if they touched you, like it would be assault. Like you can't tell me I can't walk on the beach. You can't do anything.
I was trying to read through this, and the first case says that the security guard went and got a sheriff, and the sheriff told them that they were going to get a ticket if they didn't get off the beach.
The sheriffs are all scared because all those people want the influence of all these wealthy people. The wealthy people influence the politicians. The sheriffs want to keep their jobs. I mean, the whole thing is just crazy. But the thing is, now, today, this stuff is getting out. And it's getting out on the internet, and it's getting out in these stories and articles that are on the internet. Homeowners have employed several tactics to keep their beachfront properties private. Recent example of a case in Malibu involved a property owner charging people $40 to walk on the beach and banning surfing unless the person was a resident or a friend of a resident. What? You can't just decide. That's crazy. That's like literally going up to a state park and saying no one can go in here. It's too close to my house.
yeah, there's nothing right about that stuff. And that kind of right there, that mentality, that gives me the gnarliest anxiety. I just don't want to be anywhere near those people. I just want to get far, far away from them and like live in the mountains in Hawaii where I do.
Look at this. She had been on the beach for just a few minutes when a tall, uniformed security guard approached. He said he told Schwartz she was trespassing on private property and threatened her with a $1,500 fine and a court citation if she didn't leave.
She's an employee, too, of the commission.
Right. She said, she's a commission employee, was asked to do some reconnaissance following a stream of formal complaints. At that point, I pulled out the maps that I had and said, this is a public area, Schwartz recalled, but the guard disregarded her insistence. After telling her she needed to provide legal proof that she had a right to be there, the guard left and returned 20 minutes later with two sheriff's deputies who swiftly advised Schwartz that the beach was not for public use. Then I got a bit unsettled, she remembers. As brave as I like to think I am, I kind of started shaking a little bit, started to get a little nervous. Well,
did you read it? That was, if you go back up, Jamie, it'll say whose house that was. I think it was David Geffen's.
I think that happened also near his house. Same
Deliberately
beach.
restricted public access. That same thing happened with Mark Zuckerberg on Kauai.
It's 2013, The Guardian reported how entertainment mogul David Geffen had deliberately restricted public access to the beach near his home on Carbon Beach. Yeah, that's another really... you can't do that.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg did that on Kauai.
Really?
He bought up this beautiful property on the north coast of Kauai. It's incredible, beautiful place with incredible waves, and not that many people live there. And he bought this insane, like thousands of acres right there, one of the most beautiful places on earth, and then try to keep everybody out and like completely block all the access, and all the Hawaiians, all the local people got extremely angry with him. And if you just would have been, I mean, he's going to be a resident, right? You would
Right.
think this little island on Kauai, people have been living there forever. You can't just like storm in there, buy all the property up, and block everyone out.
How
You
many
gotta-
people live in Kauai?
I don't know, but
Is it like Lanai sized or smaller?
a lot more.
than
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd probably be 40,000 or something like that, maybe 30,000. But, you know,
Yeah.
the people on Kauai are really territorial and protective of where they live, and they live in a really beautiful place. And a lot of people who aren't from there have lots of money, want to live there. And so people on Kauai are hypersensitive to that already. So you got like Mark Zuckerberg, you know, probably worth $80 billion or something, come in there and buy up all the land and try and block everyone. It's not a good move.
Well, he's
Bad
probably
move.
terrible move, but he's probably super insulated to people, right? I mean, everywhere that guy goes, he brings security guards with him,
Oh, you'd have to.
and he's probably like he probably has almost no interaction with regular people.
You would think so.
And he's young, man.
So young.
Is he like 34 or some shit? How old is he, Jamie?
I think that's right.
What's he worth? 80 billion? Can you imagine being in your 30s and worth $80 billion?
How about still working? How about that?
That's cool though. I love that about these
Really?
guys. Like, I wouldn't do it, but like Elon Musk and
Yeah.
and Zuckerberg, it's cool that those guys believe so much that they can actually make a difference. That they're still. That's the only reason that's keeping them. It's not the money.
He paid $100 million to purchase 700 acres of land. Wow.
He's 34.
34.
That's crazy.
Straight up balling.
Balling out.
What?
That's balling.
There's a big difference between him and Elon Musk, though. He's got a weird reputation of fucking over the people that he made Facebook with. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's correct or not. But that movie, man, I'd sue the fuck out of those people who made that movie if that's not true, right? In the movie, they kind of set it up like he stole the idea.
Well, he had to settle. He settled out of court. Paid a lot of millions to like the Winklevoss brothers, I think, to because they said it was their idea.
Yeah, they made him look like a dick in that movie, though.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
It's kind of heavy that movie actually got made. You would think that they would have got paid off to not make it.
Well, it's weird to make a movie about a person. Even if they got accurate reports from other people, it's so weird to make a movie about a person who's still alive right now and put words in his mouth.
A lot of it's speculation too, no matter what.
For sure.
Yeah.
Seems
What?
like he got off light. It says that the settlement was $20 million in cash and $45 million in Facebook stock.
Probably
and they're worth.
Billions.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
so
he got off light. Yeah, if he did dick them over. But who knows if they're telling the truth,
Yeah,
though. I
who
don't know
knows?
whose version
There's
of it's
always,
true.
There's always two sides to every story.
But a movie about you, like if somebody made a movie about you and, had you on the beach saying some shit you never really said, you're like, hey, I didn't say those words. You can't have me say those words with an actor's inflection and his decisions to make whatever creative choices he makes with the way he talks.
and
you know?
99% of the people watching that movie aren't having this conversation
Right.
with people. They just automatically think that's Zuckerberg.
That's what
He's
happened.
a dick.
He's a dick. He
Yeah.
did that. He did those things.
That's the
Yeah.
perception. It's like if like Jamie was like, hey, you know what? I just got fired by Joe. Fuck that guy.
I'm
You
gonna
know
make
what?
a movie about him.
Joe tried to touch me this one day when I was shooting the techno friggin' target. He tried to touch me. Everyone maybe believed Jamie,
Yeah.
especially if he was like a really pretty girl.
Yeah. Well, Jamie could be a pretty girl if he shaves. Here it goes.
He tried to stop it being
Oh,
made.
goddamn ad blocker. He did try to stop it being made?
It's according to this, yeah.
Shit. You would though, wouldn't
Tried
you?
to stop the movie The Social Network from being made.
Oh, it's from
Yeah.
those leaked Sony emails that came out and that hacking thing.
Of course he
Mm-hmm.
did. But I think he has a right to it, honestly.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Pretty heavy that someone can make a movie about you without
Right.
your consent.
And put words in your mouth. That's the thing.
It'd be one thing if you were convicted in a court of law
Right.
for that stuff, but if this is just like, yeah, I swear this happened.
See, here's the thing, though. It's one thing if there's a documentary. And in the documentary, they're showing footage where Zuckerberg's doing certain things and
Right.
saying certain things. It's a total different situation if you decide to put words in that guy's mouth and you have fucking Justin Timberlake play him in a movie. Who played him in the movie?
I think it was Justin Timberlake.
Was it Justin Timberlake?
Jesse
No, he's in it.
Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. So you have a famous actor. The famous actor plays you in a movie and makes you out to be a cunt.
That sucks.
It's his choice.
That
He can-
sucks.
And then the director's like, make it a little more cunty. Can you do a little more cunty? Like, okay, I'll go a little more of a dick. I'll be a little more removed here. We'll try a little more removedness next take.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't do that.
Oh,
Like,
man.
you should. He should be able to sue the fuck out of those people. Because at the end of the day, it's one thing to tell a story. Hey, I work with Zuckerberg. That guy was a dick. He stole my ideas. It's another thing to have someone play him in a movie and make up a bunch of words that he didn't really say, or you don't know he really said, or you don't have any proof that he really said. That's fucking strange,
Make
man.
shit up.
That's like, I've always felt that way about historical movies. Like they make a movie about Abraham Lincoln. Like someone was saying, how the fuck did they do a movie, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer? You know, did you ever see that stupid movie? It was really ridiculous. Abraham Lincoln was
ridiculous.
a vampire killer.
Yeah.
It was one of the dumbest movies ever. They didn't make it. He's killing vampires, I think, with an axe. I think he killed them with an axe. It was really stupid. But I was saying, yeah, it's dumb, but is it any dumber than any other Abraham Lincoln movie? You have a bunch of movies about Abraham Lincoln where he's just hanging out with his kids and talk. You don't know what the fuck he said. You don't know what kind of interaction he actually had with his wife. You weren't there. You don't. Like,
How do you pitch that movie to a studio? You know what, guys?
They
I
were
got
all
this
high.
concept. I got this concept. That's when you know you got way too much money, is when you're making movies about Abraham Lincoln being a vampire killer.
yeah, pull up the trailer for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer.
I was trying to remember. If I remember correctly, though, this came at a time. The guy that wrote the book that this movie was made from wrote Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, where he rewrote Pride and Prejudice, but added a zombie like plot throughout it. So he mashed up the story. It was successful, so he did it again with like an Abraham Lincoln biography, but added vampires to it.
Is there demand?
And it went.
Is there demand
they
for
just
that?
Made a movie.
Is there enough
Couldn't
people on
sound his
Earth that
words.
wants to watch shit movies? Seriously. Is there?
Oh, I don't know, man. I
Dude,
mean,
my
how many-
time is precious. I want to watch something really good, not really bad.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man.
There's nobody walking into that movie like, yeah, this is going to be sick.
You might be operating on a higher frequency than most. There's a lot of people out there that just want to be entertained by stupidity. Here, give me full screen on this stupid piece of shit. I watched this thing high as a kite too.
You watched this movie.
Oh yeah.
And behold, was death.
Were you in that shack on the Big Island when you watched this? Was it playing on the big
it's by
screen?
Tim Burton. Yeah. Because look at this. This trailer actually looks pretty fucking cool. So you watching him?
And I saw. And hell.
Is that Liam Neeson?
I don't remember who played him. But look, he's fucking up all these vampires. Look at this. Look at the axe, see?
Wow.
Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter. Look, he chops down that tree with one swing. Dude, he's so badass.
Very high percentage of people watching that movie were high.
Yeah, well, see, I see things that are not good for my job. See, I will.
Oh, yeah.
I will watch movies and television shows. I will watch things hoping it sucks bad enough that it becomes a part of my act.
You didn't have to hope very hard, did you?
That didn't make it in there. I watched that through the whole thing. I was like,
Looks
what in
like-
the fuck?
Looks like like a joke factory.
Right. It does. It looks like it should be a joke factory. It's not. Well, maybe someone
It
better than
also
me
came
could've-
out like 2 months before the Lincoln movie with Daniel Day-Lewis, so they might have like rushed it out to have
That
it come
guy's
out at the same
amazing,
time.
by the way.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Holy moly.
But that was another movie that bothered me. I saw the Daniel Day-Lewis Lincoln movie. It was kind of dull.
Too
But-
slow.
Yeah, but it bothered me that we don't really know what the fuck this guy said. It's one thing like There Will Be Blood, which was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But those are fake people. Man, he looked good as Lincoln. Crazy how good they made him out.
Remember Gangs in New York when he was Bob the
Phenomenal.
Butcher? But was it
Yeah.
Bill the Butcher?
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's great in everything.
Yeah, he's so good, man.
He's just one of those
Incredibly
guys that just becomes complete. There's a few people there's a lot of people that are actors that are just weirdos. They're just these really strange people that desperately want attention. They figured out a way to use their mental illness to navigate the waters of Hollywood in some strange way where they're virtue signaling and behaving exactly the way Hollywood wants them to behave to get themselves into these positions of fame, and then they become movie stars and they say a bunch of nonsense, and these you hear them interviewed, you're like, you're not even a person. Like, this is not a person. It's not a person talking. There's no sincerity. There's no reality to it. You're just painfully aware of every word you're saying and how
Yeah.
people are going to perceive it, and there's no your guard's never down. They're just weirdos.
Yeah.
And then there's people like Daniel Day-Lewis, who's just this savage
Yeah.
who just figures out how to become these people. You know, he
Yeah.
stays in
That's
character.
a real deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he fucking stays in character. That was great. Last of the Mohicans.
He's so good.
He's fucking great and everything. He retired. You know what he does now?
Huh.
Makes shoes.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He's a cobbler. He makes shoes by hand. That's what he does.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a legend.
I'd
That
fuck-
dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah, man.
He
I
was
would
so good.
build a butcher. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would fly to wherever the fuck he is to get a shoe made by him.
You should do it.
I should. I wonder if he makes shoes for people. He'd probably just makes shoes for his friends. Like, does he have a company? Like, I know he makes shoes, but what does he do with these goddamn shoes?
What's his lifestyle like? You know what I mean? After all that, like, you know what I was saying? Like all those crazy moments, like a human potential, like, you know, his human potential of his like acting craft, like during like Last Mohicans and Gangs in New York and stuff.
Yeah.
Like going from that like those extreme highs and
Yeah.
you know performance levels to making shoes. It's crazy. Usually people go up, not you know up in intensity, not down in intensity.
Right. Yeah, the intensity aspect of it is really interesting. But I think for him, like he's such an artist that I don't think he cares whether or not people are looking at his art. I think he cares about the process of creating.
Yeah.
So I think to
Probably
him,
the same to him.
Yeah, I think
The
to
process.
him. Well, maybe even it's more pure because of the fact that it doesn't have any adulation. There's
Yeah.
there's no spotlight on it.
Right.
There's no publicity team. There's no stupid interviews he has to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that stuff must be maddening. You know, for him to sit down with someone from fucking E! Entertainment Television. So, man, you got another dope movie coming out.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Whoa.
Sounds like you need a Daniel Day-Lewis on the podcast here.
Probably
He'd be
wouldn't even do
freaking
it.
amazing, but maybe he would. How cool would that be to talk about shoes? He'd probably be psyching on that.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I would
cool.
talk to that guy for 3 hours just about shoes.
Be awesome.
If he was into it, just tell me about your stitching
Hell
process.
yeah.
Like, where do you choose your leather?
I don't think, from what I just read, I don't think that he does it. It says that he took time off from making movies to study under this very well-known shoemaker for 10 months specifically, and only did that.
Wow.
Then he came back, though. He made a movie like last year called The Phantom Thread, where he was a fashion designer, and then he learned to, in order to do that, he reverse engineered a Balenciaga dress, and to learn how to become a fashion
What is
designer.
a Balenciaga dress? Do you know what that
We
is?
pulled up. It's Balenciaga's a company. That's that they make that shirt we made. We pulled up a few weeks
Oh,
ago,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
double shirt thing. So it's the high end, very high end stuff. It's
So he
called
took it
Phantom
apart?
Thread. Yeah,
And then put it back together again?
just so he could understand the process of doing it. That was like that was how he became it, or got into character for that movie. So I don't know if he's retired all the way. It doesn't seem
heard-
like he makes.
I believe he retired. I mean,
Well, he made that movie last year though. This is 2017. He
Yeah,
did
I
for a
think-
while. He like 6, 7.
There's only
years
one
off.
way to find
Oh,
out.
so he
dude.
did
Get him on
retire
the
for
show.
a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. He took some time off, is what it's.
Daniel, if you're out there, anytime, dude, just holler at me. I don't know. I know you don't have a
Get at
Twitter.
me, dog.
I know you don't have a Twitter, but I got people. You got people. He was amazing in the movie The Boxer too. In my opinion,
So good.
He played the most believable professional boxer in a film, because in a lot of films, like even like the movie with Marky Mark where he played Mickey Ward. It was like Mark Wahlberg knows how to punch. He knows how to throw punches. But there's a difference between throwing punches in a movie and a guy throwing punches in a fight. And if you look at the way Daniel Day-Lewis is performing in
Yeah.
that boxing movie, he looks like a guy who's throwing punches in a fight. It's way more realistic
Wow.
than any boxing movie I've ever seen. And he boxed for a full year before he did that movie. You mean he just lived in a boxing gym. He trained all the time, sparred, hit the pads. He got real coaching from. He played a guy who was an IRA guy who got out of jail and then got back into boxing, and then there's a bunch of terrorist shit involved
Yeah.
in the film. It's a very good movie. But see if you can find footage of him from that movie. So when you see boxing movies, guys are throwing punches like they know
Right.
they're not going to get hit back.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain thing about boxing. Like if you watch a guy actually fighting, there's a tension.
Oh, yeah.
There's a tension to worry about
whole-
you're getting hit back. And you see a movie about a boxer, the guy's like, yeah, man, there's
Yeah.
there's too much.
The mitts are down. They're just like
Yeah.
their chin's out.
It's not just that. It's like the way they're moving. There's no anticipation. There's no
And it's all offense, right?
Yeah,
it's all offense.
It's all even when
Yeah.
they're getting hit, it's bullshit. It's
Yeah.
like there's
and you can tell it
yeah,
reeks.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, it reeks.
It's like watch him in here. I mean, this guy, he studied and trained. I forget who was training him, but it was like legit professional boxers.
It's crazy the commitment that these guys
Yeah.
do to take their acting to the next level. Because it's
like-
like there's not that many people who even notice that he fights more like a real fighter. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
No, there's not. But even like, see, look at the way he's throwing these punches. Like this is the way a real boxer throws punches. Like they're not wide.
Yeah.
Everything's real tight. Pretty fucking impressive. But I mean, I would expect nothing else from this guy.
Yeah, he's as legit as it gets.
He's a fucking madman.
Yeah, he's
I
legit.
bet he'd be a real weirdo to talk to.
Yeah,
You know?
it's only one way to find out.
Yeah. You want me to get him on?
When are we going hunting?
I don't know. I think June. You want to do May or June?
Let's try to plan something
Yeah.
for sure.
Lanai, that's the next one. You should come with us to Dudley's place in Oklahoma in
I would
March.
love that.
In March, we're going to go pig hunting.
That'd be fun.
It's infested.
March. That
Did you
sounds
see
like
the
fun.
size of that gigantic pig that he shot down there?
Yeah, I did. Monster.
450-pound pig.
Wow.
It's like a tank. It's like as big as this table.
Yeah.
Thing's huge.
Big pork chops.
It's the three of us stacked together
That's
in
crazy.
pig form.
and big form.
It's so fucking
March?
big. Yeah,
right.
we're gonna do it in March.
That sounds
yeah.
like fun.
Yeah, he has a giant place that he leases in Oklahoma,
Mm.
and it's all just beautiful, wild, open country. Oklahoma's very underrated. You ever been to Oklahoma?
I've never been to the Midwest.
No?
I'm going to Ohio tomorrow.
Oh, you're going whitetail hunting.
First time ever. Is that the Midwest?
Yes.
See, I've never even. I don't even know where the Midwest is.
You're
I'm
so
excited.
Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
Ohio's the shit.
I'm a Midwest virgin, so I'm going back to Ohio. That's actually where my mom is from. So
Oh, that's cool. What
Yeah.
part of Hawaii? Or what part of Ohio, rather?
I think the southern part. I'm going whitetail hunting.
Right.
Yeah, I got
Where's
invited to go,
Columbus?
and-
What part of
Columbus is right in the middle. So
This-
like Portsmouth, Kentucky area, maybe, or Cincinnati. is
Columbus?
south.
I'm
Columbus
hoping
is
it's
my
not-
favorite spot.
I'm hoping it's not too cold.
Columbus
No,
is
it's
the
not cold
shit.
yet.
I'm a big fan of Cleveland too, but goddamn, Columbus is the shit. Columbus is awesome.
I'm excited to see it, man. Just the I'm guessing it's farmlands, flat. Is that right?
Not flat.
The
that's
South?
that's the misinterpretation. Like it's flatter than most areas for sure, but like especially down from Columbus down to the south area where the rivers go, there's there's Indian mounds and there's all sorts of like glacier cutout spaces.
yeah.
The Hocking Hills is a very cool spot. There's also this Old Man's Cave is a really cool spot too. It's like a traditional.
I think
hiking
Columbus
area.
is one of the most underrated cities in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't think about it. It's like the people are fucking crazy cool. It's a really good place to do stand-up. Like for stand-up comedy, it's one of the best places in the world. It's just fucking phenomenal. They're smart, but they're also like Midwest type people. But they're not stuck up.
Right.
You know, it's like almost like Chicago. It's like a lot like Chicago, I think.
Well, I'm not going to see it. I'm just going to go straight to my tree stand.
Yeah, tree stand hunting. Have you ever done it before?
I've done a little bit of tree stand hunting, but
It's a mind fuck.
I'm really bad at it. I'm impatient.
Yeah,
I
would
like to be
imagine.
I like to be stalking. I like to be on the move. I like to be finding deer. I like to be, I like to hunt.
Yeah.
I want to be the hunter. And so for me, like sitting in a tree for 4 days straight, it'll be interesting to see if I have what it takes.
It's weird too because you're oddly aware that if you fell, you're fucked. Like you have
Yeah.
to wear a harness and all
Yeah.
that jazz. Like I did it with Dudley. The first time I ever I've hunted deer before on the ground in a ground blind, but the first time I ever did it in a tree stand was at Dudley's place. That's where you got to go. Dudley has the craziest spot.
I'm going to hit up Dudley then.
Dudley's got like 600 acres. It's all bow hunting. He lives in
All
paradise.
deer?
He literally lives in whitetail paradise.
Wow.
He lives in Iowa, right? In like one of the best places in the world for
I'm going to send
for
Dudley
deer.
a text.
Send him a text. He'll
Yeah.
have you down.
Yeah,
He'll
I
have
gotta
you down.
come-
You gotta
I'm gonna check it
apply
out.
for an Iowa tag though. It's
It's gonna be cold this week.
cold as fuck, son.
Prepare for you're a Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
You
Under
know-
Armour have some good whitetail clothes?
They do, yeah. They sent me some really, really warm clothes for hunting.
You
Yeah.
might want to get one of those thermal fucking things.
Have you
What are
seen
those
the
called?
heated sleeping bags?
Oh yeah, those are dope.
Dude,
You could wear one of those up there.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have those things. What are they called? Inferno suits or something like that. What are those things called?
See, the thing is, I like hunting in cold weather. I love it. Super cold weather even.
Right.
If I can, am like stalking around, I can walk
you
around.
can move. Right.
It's not that cold.
Right.
But the whole point of sitting in a tree stand, you have to try and sit completely 100% still and move as little as possible.
And you're freezing your dick off.
You don't have to. It doesn't even have to be that cold for you to freeze.
Right.
If you're
Yeah.
trying not to move.
Yeah.
You know, it can be in the 50s and you'd be freezing your balls off.
Right, because you're not moving, so your body's
Yeah.
not generating heat.
But I've hunted when it's like, 8 degrees or 10 degrees in eastern Colorado. And I was okay because I could move,
Well, not only that, you're taking layers off. Because
Yeah.
if you're going up hills,
Right.
like that is one of the things that's really interesting to me about hunting in cold weather is the whole layering system.
Yeah.
Is that you have to really be aware of when you're sweating. So the whole key is to get yourself to the point where you're never sweating.
Yeah.
So as you're because if you're sweating and then you have to cool off and then you have
The
to try
sweat
to
kills
heat
you,
yourself
yeah.
up and
Yeah.
your clothes are wet from
Yeah.
your sweat, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the beautiful things about wool is that wool allows you to retain your body heat even if it's wet. You know, it doesn't really fuck with you the same way that a lot of synthetics and particularly cotton. Cotton's the worst.
Cotton's the worst.
Yeah.
Synthetics are good because they'll dry quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that rewarming drill that John Barklow from Sitka did where he jumps in a river with wet clothes and shows how to heat your body back up?
No, but I just did a hunt with John Hart from Sitka, who started
the owner.
Sitka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. He was a lot of fun hunting with, and we talked about survival stuff a bit, like stuff like that. Like, what do you do if you fall in a river and it's cold?
That
You
guy
have a
to
tent.
me is like one of the, I mean, because he owns the company, he's one of the best representations of what you would want from a guy who owns a big company, who's a CEO of a big company that's involved in hunting.
Yeah.
Super smart, really articulate, conservation minded, very ethical, just salt of the
Yeah,
earth.
super solid.
I was with him in Utah.
Yeah,
Great guy.
yeah,
Awesome company too. I
yeah.
know you're,
They make good stuff.
yeah.
There's there's a lot of good stuff out there, but I just I'm hoping I stay warm on this hunt. I'm
Were
excited.
you guys in BC?
Hopefully.
Where were you guys?
We were in Hawaii.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were on that moose hunt that they just got
Yeah.
back from.
Yeah, no,
So-
we were hunting in Hawaii.
So you were in that crazy ranch that's somewhere on the Big Island that people never hunt, right? Some big area.
Yeah, we were hunting on the Big Island. We were hunting pigs. I was hunting in an area that was like I don't know how to explain it. We're hunting these big boars on the Big Island, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. But he's a really good dude.
Yeah. Do they have like numbers that they have to keep the pigs down to? Do they have like a point where the pigs reach? Because for people who don't know,
It really
pigs will have
depends.
several litters
Yeah.
a year, and if they're not, because there's no predators on Hawaii, so if the pigs aren't kept in check by people, they'll get completely out of hand. So
Yeah.
do they have wildlife biologists who manage the numbers and try to decide like
No.
what to do?
They just try and kill as many as they can.
So they just have people hunt constantly.
Yeah.
And is it not a problem because so many people hunt there?
I mean, it just sort of depends who you ask. It's crazy because like with the pigs, the pigs can thrive in really thick areas, so that it's very difficult to do to figure out how many pigs there are. Like if you try and count the number of deer on Maui, people count them. My friend Jake does it. He'll fly and they'll grid and they'll get a pretty darn accurate reading of how many deer are on the island. But trying to figure out how many pigs are on the Big Island, it's impossible. They live in the jungle.
Right,
You
because
can't do
they're
it.
all in underbrush and
Yeah,
they
and
bed
they can.
and
Yeah, but the deer, they come out in the open, and you chase them with a helicopter, and you can see them. They're all running. But the pigs don't do that. They just go right in the thick. So basically, there's just infinite numbers of pigs on the Big Island.
So do they?
But we also have sheep. We have Mouflon sheep. We have like a hybrid sheep. We got goats, and those you can get numbers of, and you can knock them down really quick if you're trying to eradicate them. But
Yeah.
with pigs, it's really difficult.
How do the Mouflon sheep taste?
Mouflon sheep are amazing.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I
They're
heard
great.
They taste really
They're
good.
fantastic. They're great to hunt.
Did you see that controversy that happened pretty recently where a woman shot a wild sheep,
I did
a
in
wild
Europe.
goat
Yeah,
in Europe,
In Europe.
and people were upset at her,
Mm-hmm.
and all these. Ricky Gervais, of course, he has to jump in. That's his favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn Greenwald, all these people jumped in. what they don't understand is these wild goats are an invasive species. They have no natural predators, and they hunt them to preserve the wildlife that's indicative that's native to the area.
Yeah.
Whether it's the plant life, animal life. I mean, these goats, if their populations are left unchecked, like they hunt them for a very specific reason. Like really, if you talk to some wildlife biologists, they should be eradicated.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them were left on islands. People don't realize this, by whalers. They left them on these islands because this was an island off of I believe it was off of Ireland or Scotland. See if you can find that story. Scotland. A lot of them were left there by travelers so that they would have food there when they came back. So they would drop these things off on these certain islands. And in fact, there was a real area, a real problem where they dropped them off. So this was the woman. And people got all over this lady for shooting this wild goat, which is really kind of crazy because they eat them. They're delicious. They eat them as food. They're invasive. I mean, there's so many things going pointing towards the direction that this was actually a smart conservation thing to do. But I guess maybe it was because of the way she talked about it, because she said it was a really fun hunt or something like that.
Well, like I get it. It's like a beautiful creature.
Yeah, it
and
is.
it would have still been alive if she wasn't there. So that perspective of people of just like, why do you got to kill it? It's a wild animal living on an island. Why can't you just let them live?
It's a natural perspective.
It's as simple as that. It's just normal human nature to think that. But all the people who think that, if you dig a little deeper, there's a lot more information there. With those, you just can't let those goats get out of hand. They're hardy as hell. They don't die.
But that's the problem with
They
someone
multiply like super
like
fast.
Ricky Gervais or Glenn Greenwald, someone like that has a giant platform that loves animals, and I appreciate that, and that instantly posts something like this, very inflammatory, without looking into it deeper.
Yeah.
They use their platform, and they think to expose something they think is horrific, but they don't understand what's going on behind the scenes of this. There's a thing called Judas goats. And what they do is they'll take a goat and they'll neuter that goat and put a GPS tag on it and send it out because goats always flock together.
Yeah.
And this goat will go near the other goats, and then they fly over with helicopters and gun these goats down.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just to keep goat populations in check. So they kill every goat but the Judas goat, and then the Judas goat will find other goats, and then they fly over again and gun all the goats down. And this is done by wildlife biologists.
They do that right by my house. Yeah.
They do this just because those goats eat everything. I have a friend who lives in Topanga, and they bought goats to clean their property. They thought, this would be a good idea. We'll bring these goats in, and they'll eat all the weeds. And no, they eat everything.
Everything. Every last thing.
They keep going. And so they'll decimate local wildlife, like whatever their habitat is. They'll devastate all these local plants. Things that are supposed to be there that have been there forever. When these invasive species get there, they have a really hard time maintaining. And then it gets to a point where they have to do something about it. Well, this woman paid to do that, so that money goes towards conservation. She gets to eat the meat. She has this enjoyable experience hunting these things in the mountains. But people don't want to look at that. They just want to look at it. It shouldn't die. And it's really particularly crazy when it's a guy like Ricky Gervais who eats meat.
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing is it's so strange. It's just so strange that people refuse to look deeper into these things, and they immediately have these knee-jerk reactions where they want to complain about it and do so publicly in a way that gets all these people to attack this woman.
Well, the photo of that dead animal, that's what initiates that response, that like emotional response that a human gets. Yeah,
smiling
like,
with
that's
a dead
the worst
animal.
thing ever.
Right.
And then they'll go to the fridge and grab some like steak and cook it and think nothing of it.
Yeah.
Nothing at all of that meat. They don't see the parallel there. They just think that it's completely different and weird that someone wants to go hunt them.
Yeah, it's fucked up in this weird, accepted, hypocritical way. I mean, it's oddly accepted.
But we all have freezers full of the best meat there is and eat it every night. And it's amazing. I'm never going to stop.
We do. Yeah,
Yeah, we
people
do.
that hunt. Yeah.
We do. Yeah. That we actually have that connection with that meat. We killed it. We skinned it. We got the meat. We deboned it. We packed it out. We packaged it and put it in our freezers ourselves.
But this is the first
Pretty
I've seen.
freaking awesome.
It's the first I've seen someone get attacked at something that's a meat animal. Because I've seen people, maybe they don't know it's a meat animal, but I've seen people get attacked for, obviously, for anything like it's a predator.
Lions and
yeah, the predator
Yeah.
one is the biggest one. Like if you kill something that's a predator, people for whatever weird reason freak out more than anything.
well, and if there's like a general idea that they're endangered,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like everybody thinks that lions are endangered,
Yeah.
or elephants are endangered,
Or even bears.
or
People
bears
think
are
the bears
endangered. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions out there for sure. But I don't really eat lions or elephants or anything like that. I eat deer, and there's millions of deer, millions.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where we hunt in Lanai has 3,000 people. They estimate somewhere over 20,000 deer, and they don't even know. I mean, it's just bananas.
I'm on a text thread with Benny O'Brien and Remy and all you guys, and there was a stat that they were saying yesterday. I don't know if you're on that
Yeah.
text, and they were saying that like in one of the Midwest states, I don't know which one it was. Do you remember? In one of the
can
Midwest
find it.
states, like 850,000 deer died during gun season, and half of them, like 400,000 deer, died in the first 2 days. Because we were talking about Adam being in the tree,
That's crazy.
and that in one state alone, 850,000 deer died during gun season. So you think of how many deer that is. Imagine if no one hunted for like 3 years.
What was that stat?
How many deer there would be?
The number of car accidents nationwide with deer. I think it's 1.5 million.
I mean, but the people who get angry at the photos don't think of what it would be like if you just stopped hunting.
Yeah. No, they
Imagine
think
how many goats there would be. Imagine how many pigs
how
there
many
would be.
deer.
How many
Yeah.
deer
They
there would
think
be.
nature would sort
Being-
itself out.
It wouldn't.
Well, it would eventually, but you'd have to bring in wolves if you're comfortable with wolves eating your kids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it used.
Tigers and
All that big bad wolf shit from when we were little kids, like
Mm-hmm.
little pig, let me in. That's because wolves were everywhere and they were bad. It was
Yeah.
dangerous. Like you would go through
They
for
were
a walk
eating
through
people.
the woods. They'd eat
Yeah.
your kids.
Yeah.
That really did happen.
Yeah.
We got so far away from that we forgot of it as a possibility.
Yeah.
So now we think of them as dogs that are living their natural. That dog's just living his best life out in the woods. Ow! Ooh, I
Yeah.
love it when they howl. They're trying to figure out how to eat you. They want to get through your house. That's
Yeah.
what they're trying to figure out how to eat your kids.
And if you reintroduce them into Yellowstone, they're never going to leave Yellowstone. They're
No.
going to stay there. They're going to stay right in this little
Yeah, that's
tiny
their
pocket
home.
of where they like to live. They're never going to reproduce into like thousands.
Yeah.
They're that's what those people think. But really, they're going to just start roaming and
Yeah.
and recreating thousands and thousands and thousands of wolves that are all going to go into like neighborhoods eventually.
Yeah, well, that's what's happening. And that's
yeah.
what's happening in Montana. That's what's happening
Yeah.
in Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are all reintroduced wolves that are,
Yeah.
I mean, and they also go on these surplus kills where they'll kill like 15 elk and just leave them there. They just go nutty.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
My friend lives in Montana, and he was telling me that the wolf population is so out of hand that the elk population has been decimated. It's down by like 80% or some crazy stat. Crazy.
I mean, I
Or
can
like
only
a lot
imagine.
yeah.
They weren't there in 1994. I mean, that's when
Yeah.
they reintroduced them, right? In the 90s?
So I mean, there's. I mean, now that now that human population is so established in a lot of these areas, and you can't just reintroduce wolves with no plan to keep a lid on it.
Well, there is a plan, but the problem with the plan is the established numbers that they needed to achieve before they started managing the population. Then there was immediate lawsuits by animal rights activists who don't want them to ever hunt wolves.
Right.
So in Montana, they've opened up seasons. They've opened up seasons in Idaho. They've opened up seasons for wolves, and they would like to do the same for grizzly bears in a lot of these areas. And there's a lot of pushback on that too, but it's the same sort of thing. The established numbers that they needed to achieve in order to make it a sustainable population, they've been reached. And then the wildlife biologists,
Right.
the ones who are objective about it, are saying, hey, we need to keep these populations in check in order to keep the deer populations healthy and the moose populations healthy, because these bears and these wolves, they're just destroying these calves, and they just run around, and the populations of these animals go way down. Now, there's also an argument, and a really good one, that you need predators. And this good argument is you don't ever want Lanai to be recreated in Montana,
Right.
Where
Yeah.
there's just these deer and
For sure.
just these elk.
Yeah.
You want a certain natural balance. And so there's an argument that there should be a certain amount of wolves, and I agree with that argument.
I agree too, but the balance can be really difficult to maintain.
Yeah.
That's my point. Is like, if there's too many elk and you want to control that number, say there's 100,000 elk, but there should only be 50,000 elk. That's the perfect number.
Right.
It's actually pretty easy to go from 100,000 to 50,000 to draw that elk herd back, it's pretty easy through management and through hunting. Same with deer. You can pull that number back pretty quick. Wolves are freaking hard to kill, dude.
Yeah.
If you had to kill a wolf and you had a gun, it's freaking hard. If you had to kill a deer and you had a gun, not that hard.
Right.
You can find deer. Finding a wolf is freaking hard, dude. So
Well-
once those, my point is once those wolf numbers get out of hand, trying to manage that population, the wolf population, is very, very difficult.
Well, places that are used to dealing with them, they know what the fuck to do, like Alaska.
Yeah, to trap 'em and everything,
They
huh?
trap them. They fly around in planes and shoot them out of the air with helicopters. I mean, they eradicate them.
Is that Sarah Palin?
I don't think she's doing that anymore. But there's a lot of people up there that do that, and you can buy wolfskin rugs. They sell those skins and turn them into rugs and do all sorts of different things with the pelts.
Got to do something.
Yeah, they do something with it. So but they do that because they have a vested interest in keeping the population of their game animals alive for a couple reasons. And there's criticism about that too, that they maybe kill too many wolves.
Yeah.
Because they want you to be able to go there, and a lot of their tourism dollars comes from people that fly in to hunt moose or fly in to hunt deer, and they want to make sure they keep certain populations of them there. So there's a real problem when you get emotions and you have those emotions tied into this idea of wildlife biology and what an animal is, and keeping healthy numbers of these animals in a certain area. Becomes a real issue, and that's why when this goat thing happens and everybody freaks out over it, it's like, you should probably educate yourself as to what you're talking about before you start complaining, because you're just throwing gasoline on this fire and you don't necessarily understand all the circumstances involved.
Those goats are gnarly too, because they live where I live, and they love shorelines, and they love like ridges and berms and stuff like that, and they create so much erosion because they love those like edges on cliffs and stuff, and so they ruin all the berms. They ruin all the cliffs, and then there's all this runoff. There's all this erosion, and they completely decimate all the grass, all the weeds, all the way down. They don't just trim things. They're not selective eaters. They'll just chow down all the way to the roots and then eat the roots also. So there's nothing holding that dirt in place.
Right.
So when it rains, just everything spills downhill because of the goats. I see it. And with deer, you can see some impact that they have for sure. As you let those numbers get out of hand, they have the same effect. But goats are radical. The populations explode, and if someone's not managing them, you can see the impact that they have on the land.
And that'll have an impact on all the native species too. All the ground nesting birds, all the animals that use the grass and those bushes and all those different things for cover and for life. Yeah, it's and the things that they feed off of, all that stuff gets eaten by the goats. Yeah.
If there's a large population of goats somewhere, you'll know it.
Yeah.
There'll be like almost nothing left. It really is.
I appreciate these people like Glenn Greenwald. I appreciate the sentiment behind it. I really do. I just wish they would look into it a little bit deeper. And this she's not a bad person. She's just, that's how she gets her meat.
Yep.
Like I said, especially a guy like Ricky, who I've met. I've actually talked about hunting with him on a radio show before. I did it on the Opie and Anthony show. I had to explain to him that I'm a hunter and that I hunt animals and I eat them, because he was talking about hunters. And he was actually very friendly with me, and we were cool about it. We had a good. He's like, as long as you eat it, that's what you're doing it for. I'm like, that's exactly what I do it for. But he eats meat too, which is it's weird. It's the fact that people think like that they are morally disconnected from the act of killing an animal just because they use a credit card to buy meat is so hilarious. Like, you hired a supermarket hitman. That's what you did. Supermarket hitman took a prisoner, cow, and fucking put a bolt through its head, and you feel completely detached from it.
Yep.
No karma.
Well, and when someone eats a hamburger, they think nothing of eating a quarter of it or half of it. I'm really full. You can just take that away from me.
Yeah.
You never do that with your elk, do you?
No, I eat it all.
Yeah.
I eat it all. Yeah, I make sure that if I cook it, I cook enough so that me and my family eat it, and whatever's left over, I know I'll eat in the morning or eat the next day for lunch.
That's a huge difference, is you have so much respect for that meat and for that animal because all the effort it took, and you watch that thing live in the wild. You have a completely different perspective of that meat than you do if you just, order a hamburger at the restaurant.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But that again, that's one of those. I mean, you and I have developed this perspective from years of hunting and being around people who hunt, and we understand it. For the average person that's never going to encounter that in their entire life, we've developed this very weird society where we've insulated people from all of the ugly realities of eating meat and of wearing leather. I mean, we're sitting on leather chairs. Didn't think about it once. This used to be a fucking cow.
Yeah.
Someone shot this cow and turned it into a nice chair.
No one minds sitting on a cow that's dead, but no one wants to see that dead cow laying on the ground, the eyes open and the blood
hanging from its ankles.
Yeah. People, and I
out.
think it's important for people to see that. I mean, my kids have seen a lot of dead animals. It's not sad. It's a little sad, but it's not like they don't think of it as sad. They think of it as just like a part of life. You know, that's what we eat.
Yeah.
Dad brings a deer home in the cooler. Dad brings a pig home on the front of the quad with his bow, with a bloody arrow. It's totally normal. They see me drag it off the quad and shoot it down with the hose and quarter it and debone it, and they help me package it and grind the meat, and it's totally normal to them.
It should be totally normal.
But there's a connection between the death and what we're eating.
Right.
Which a lot of people just don't have. And I love that my kids already have that. It's a good thing, I think.
Well, I think that we have a real problem in the society where so many people, somewhere in the neighborhood of 95 to 97% of the people eat meat, and the number of people that have actually seen an animal die is like, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like, what's the population of people that hunt in North America? Let's guess. Guess the population of the U.S. that hunts. I'm gonna say it's 3%. That might be high even. 3 out of 100. What do you think it is?
It's probably less than 3. For sure.
Let's see what it is. What population of the United States of America hunts? Jamie's raising his eyebrows.
It might be
Is that a
might
hard
be a
one to-
technicality here, but it says there's 101.6 million Americans
That hunt?
that participated 16 and older that, Fish and Wildlife shows that 101.6
There's a lot of people who
million,
hunt.
Yeah, but that might be fishing.
Yeah, participated in wildlife-related activities.
Oh, wildlife
yeah.
related. That includes like pig fucking.
That includes wildlife watching, it says.
Yeah. Oh, wildlife watching.
Yeah, and I've typed in population
that's
of
definitely
hunters
a lot
in the
different.
US. That's what came
That's
up.
a lot different.
That's all that came up? There's got to be a population of actual number of hunters.
I mean, this is back in, I don't know. Where
That's the other thing too. Is like there's a hierarchy. Like people don't have a problem with people fishing. you
No.
know? Like,
No.
no problem.
Or posting a photo with their fishing pole and
Yeah.
their catch.
Yeah. Hey, you got some food.
What's
Caught
different
a fish.
between that and
6% maybe?
what's the difference between that and a deer? But
Deers are warm.
here's the
They're warm and they have fur. That's
and
what
there's
it
been a
is.
movie made about them.
They talk. But what about Nemo?
Disney.
Fuck Nemo. Nobody cares about Nemo.
No one
Finding
cares
Nemo.
about Nemo, dude. No, Nemo gets no love.
He doesn't get any love.
I was
It's
thinking
true.
of this though, like because I have kids and my kids eat meat,
Right.
and I feel like imagine if you made a law that after the age of 16 years old in America, if you wanted to eat another hamburger, you had to kill two animals. You go to a place like whatever it is, like a ranch where they process meat, and there's a cow there and there's a rifle there, and you go, okay, if you want to be a meat eater from now on, from their 16th birthday on, the only way to eat meat in the future is if you got to do it yourself at least twice. You can't just do it once. You got to kill a cow, watch it get processed, and then you got to wait like a month or whatever it is and go back and take another animal's life, and then you earn the right to eat meat the rest of your life. Imagine how many people wouldn't be able to do that. They're happy to eat meat, but there's that disconnection with the actual death part.
See, I would have a problem with forcing people to do it, just like I'd have a problem with forcing people
No, let's
to get
force
rid of.
them.
I don't think people should be forced to get rid of their garbage.
It's just a wild concept. That
It is an interesting concept, but I think there's services like taking your garbage and bringing it to the garbage dump. I don't
Yeah.
think you should have to go to the garbage dump, go to the landfill and drop
Yeah.
your garbage off. I'm happy that there's someone that gets paid to pick up the
Yeah.
bins and dump the garbage into the garbage truck and then drive it to the bin. I'm happy that exists. I like that.
Yeah,
I like the fact that someone takes care of your sewage.
I agree
I like the fact that I can buy a steak.
for sure. All I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
if you could earn the right to eat
Yeah.
steak,
I see
and
what
you
you're
don't have to
saying.
do it every time. You wouldn't have to like kill a cow every time you wanted to eat more. Like once you finish that cow, you need to kill another one. I'm just saying, everyone should know what it's like to take an
Right.
animal's life,
No, I agree with you.
to eat meat.
I agree. Everyone should probably know what it's like.
Because if you don't, it's hard to respect that animal enough Like I was saying, like my kids we don't waste deer meat. Like if it's on their plate, they eat it. If they don't eat it, I put it in there, eat it the next day or whatever it is. You know, there's always a lesson to be taught when you're eating wild game that you've hunted yourself, I think.
Well, I think there's a problem whenever there's a disconnect, right? It's like, I think there's a problem with if money just comes for free. There's a problem if your meat just comes from a store.
Yeah.
There's a weird disconnect between the actual thing that's living and then eating it. And most people, the vast majority of people, are completely disconnected from that. I mean, that's the case with farming vegetables too. Most people, I don't think they have an appreciation for a vegetable being a life form that you're consuming. That, you know, there's a growth process. It's a living thing. You pull it out of the ground, you cook it, you eat it. I mean, that disconnect, I think, is real too. Because there's a real good feeling that I get when I eat vegetables that have grown in my garden.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I love it. I really enjoy it. I get a kick out of it.
And there's a lot of people who look down on us for hunting, who are, say like you're a vegan who just eats nothing but vegetables and fruit or whatever it is. And, you know, they're looking at us like we're crazy for, you know, the impact we have on the animals, killing them, whatever. But like a lot of the vegetables that people eat nowadays are grown in places that used to be rainforest. Like the Amazon, just getting whacked down just to grow corn, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like
I think there's a lot of it is just cattle, right? Isn't the Amazon a lot of the deforestation? I think the primary
I think a lot of it's for ethanol too, though.
Is it
for
corn? Yeah. But I think hardwoods. They chopped a lot of it down for hardwoods, and they chopped a lot of it down to in order to provide grazing lands for cattle.
I think in the future, all of the vegetables and stuff are going to be. I was talking to Kelly about this a lot. There's a lot of things that are happening now with technology that I think a lot of like the vegetables and stuff that we're going to be eating are going to be grown vertically instead of like on these massive, you know, farms of like these huge, like, you know, 100,000 acre ranches full of like vegetables.
Right.
It's all going to be grown like in smaller spaces, you know, super efficient growing in smaller spaces to feed more people with less space.
I wonder if they could do
That's
that
going to
with
be kind
grain.
of crazy. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, there'd probably be some real benefits to that, but I wonder if they could do that with grain.
We're going to have to do something with our population keeping growing and more people and more demand for food and less space to grow it. You know, there's going to be an inflection point where someone else is going to have to do something. But I think technology is moving in that place where, and that's the thing. I fully get like the people who hate on me on, say, social media or whatever on my Instagram. If I post a photo of if I did post a photo of me getting an elk or whatever it was, and all these people get uppity. But because a lot of people can't go hunting, don't live in a place where they can go hunting and get their own meat. They live in a city. They live in New York City or Shanghai or in Buenos Aires or whatever, and it's so unrelatable to them, you know?
No, I understand that. I appreciate that. And, you know, I think that social media is very strange in that regard, too, because people are always looking for people or things to get pissed off at.
Oh, yeah.
They don't get mad if I post pictures of cooking elk, though.
No, they don't.
There's a few like proselytizing
Very
vegans.
few.
You're going to get cancer, man.
Yeah.
They always want to.
They always do that.
They don't think cancer comes from meat. You imagine if all meat gave you cancer. You know how fucking stupid that is? Everyone would have cancer. Like literally 95% of the population would have cancer. It's just there's a few epidemiological studies that have fucked people's heads up because they've corresponded, they've related the idea of eating meat to poor health. But these people that have eaten meat, they don't just eat meat. They've eaten meat along with sugar and alcohol consumption, and cigarettes, and
it's a lifestyle.
They don't factor those things in.
They're eating like a 30-ounce prime rib.
Yeah,
that your body is impossible for your body to process that. Like,
more likely, they're eating burgers with sugary buns and you know processed meat and bullshit.
But when I eat meat, I normally eat meat that's like the size of my palm or smaller. You know, I eat wild game and it's that size.
Right. I
think it's easy for my body to process that. Eating like a prime rib that's like hanging off both sides of your plate, like Fred Flintstone, that's difficult, I think, for your body to process that. That's not scientific. I just look at it and go, there's no way my body's going to deal with that.
Where's it going to fit?
It's going to stay in it for 30 years. You know, they always say that. Like, it's going to stay in
That's
there.
not true, too. That's all nonsense, too.
Wasn't Kelly talking about, like, poop in here? Like shooting his butt out and all this stuff?
He was talking
poop
about...
talk.
Yeah, he was talking about when you go on these extreme fasts and then all this weird stuff that comes out of the inside of your gut. It comes out. Yeah. I would try that just to look at that stuff, see what that stuff looks like.
Yeah, I would try,
Doesn't
but
feel
I wouldn't
great.
want to. I wouldn't want to look at it. I definitely would want like the when you're having a baby and they put up like a curtain. Sometimes you don't have to see anything like that. Like, okay, I'm just gonna put my legs up. You got a visual of that?
Yeah.
Got my legs up and someone out there, doing all that stuff.
Do you
for me.
grow your own vegetables?
I don't.
No.
I travel like half the time. I'm
Right.
gone from home like literally half the time, so it's really difficult to.
Is it hard getting good
Anything like that.
vegetables on the Big Island?
No, there's not. It's actually really easy. There's really good farmers markets. I'm lucky because my mom and her boyfriend have a really neat like a hydroponic killer vegetable garden.
Oh wow.
So like we'll trade a lot of times. I'll give them venison and I'll get really good veggies from them and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's
So it's
great.
a good trade. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot of meals that we do where like no one has touched that meal except for my family. This is cool. I like that.
Roseanne has she's got a macadamia nut farm on
Yeah.
the Big Island, and she raves about it up there, man. She loves it.
I listened to part of her podcast with you. I haven't finished it yet. But she's amazing. She's funny.
You know what, man? They fucked up, man. They really did fuck up. They fucked up when
They blew it, huh?
That lady is not racist. She's definitely mentally ill, but she's open about it. She's
Yeah.
not racist. And they just jumped on the opportunity to virtue signal and to cry out against
Yeah.
racism and to take a stand. But they took a stand against a woman that has mental problems, who's on all sorts of medication, who they knew about it. I mean, she was put in a mental hospital for 9 months
Yeah.
when she was a kid, and she was hit by a car. I mean, she had a severe brain injury.
Yeah.
And ever since then, she's had multiple personality disorder. She's been on a host of different medications, and they knew about this. Everybody knew about this.
Yeah.
They should have known. It's basically like taking a person who's got a broken leg and getting mad that they limp. It's what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a person who had brain problems who tweets a bunch of wacky shit. She's on Ambien and drinking and smoking pot. And even then, she wasn't being racist. She wasn't. She didn't know that lady was black. The lady didn't even look black. If you look at her, you look at a picture of her, she does not look black.
Yeah.
She just thought she was being funny, and she thought she was making a solid point that she was going to expand upon when she woke up in the morning. She literally said that. She's all fucked up on
Yeah.
Ambien and pot and drinking.
I listened to that. It was crazy. Yeah, that was fucked up that happened to her. And it sucks that her show got canceled.
Well, the new one sucks. The new one sucks, and
Okay,
it's going
good.
down the toilet.
So hey, sort of the same subject. Did you see that rad documentary about the white woman who ran the NAACP
Yes.
and freaking act like a black lady?
I know who she is, but I didn't.
That was
Rachel
one of the
Dolezal.
Best freaking documentaries ever. As
Was it?
incredible documentary, yeah. Insane. She was out of her mind, dude. They kept asking her if she was black, and she would just straight up, like, at first she said yes, and then she said, like, it's not that important, and then she was, like, tanning herself and, like, putting, like, all this brown
They
makeup
showed her
on
do it?
herself and getting, like, weaves and doing her nails, like, how she thought, like, black people would do their nails. Like, it was super weird. And then she ran the NAACP.
Yeah.
It was just a wild documentary. The chick was just in outer space.
It's
She was-
hilarious that she ran the NAACP.
For like
That's
a
what's
while,
hilarious.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably did a good job.
And she had a huge impact. She was like amazing at her job. Supposedly, like in the documentary, it was saying that she got all this stuff done at that they were trying to do for a long time, and she was really, really good at doing her job. It just sucked that she was actually a white lady who was like acting the whole time.
Well, what's really fucked is NAACP stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. You cannot call African Americans colored people. That is a fucking slur. They have a slur in their title.
We're living in weird times, man. It's
But
crazy.
you can say people of color, which is fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
You can't say colored people, but you can say people of color.
It's the same words, just twisted around.
Dude, I had a...
It's messed up. It's like you can just be like labeled a racist or a sexist or whatever for
Like
like
that.
saying like the
oh, yeah.
yeah, it's wild.
I had a 23andMe DNA test done. And,
How cool are those?
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was hoping... If I was more than 10% black, I was going to start dropping N-bombs. But 1.6. So
1.6.
I'm 1.6% African. Pretty strong. It's all dick. And when they did that thing about Elizabeth Warren, I did find out what percentage she is. Elizabeth Warren, who claimed to be Native American, and she did a test. She's like 1/100th of what I am. Like it's literally like her
Are you
saying
serious?
her saying she's a Native American is literally like me saying I'm African American. But I have more of a claim. I have far more, like more than I think some insane number, factor of more African in me than she has Native American. And I'm not even remotely Native American, or remotely African, rather.
Yeah.
I'm 1.6%. I have 1.6% African in me. And she has like some fucking really stupid number. What is the number?
Yeah,
it's like
the world's gone wild these days,
0.0001.
dude. I don't even know how to make sense of all that stuff.
She had what happened was a Harvard researcher looked into it,
Right.
and gave a number that was very vague. That would be like 1 in 512th to 1 in 1024th, something like that.
That sucks, dude.
It's so crazy.
It sucks. It
Meanwhile,
sucks that that's the thing. Like,
she
we're all
got-
something. Like, who gives a shit?
But she got into Harvard because of this, where she claimed she was Native American. When she got in
That's
by claiming
crazy.
that she was a minority. It was Harvard, right? Correct? I'm being honest about that? Or was it Cambridge? Whatever the university she got in.
Some
She
Ivy
got
League
into
school.
university by claiming that she was Native American, so she got a special scholarship because of that.
Oh, man.
It's
That's
literally
messed up.
like me going to Morehouse and saying I'm African American, except I have a far better claim.
You have a much higher percentage.
Much higher. That's so crazy.
That's wild.
Meanwhile, she's so nuts, like, because Trump was always calling her Pocahontas, and Trump said that if she...
How wild is it that you can't, if you said the wrong thing on your podcast, people will be up in arms, but for some reason the president can say whatever the hell he wants to say.
Well, he's
Most
making fun of
racist
her
shit ever.
pretending to be a Native American.
Yeah.
He was joking about her. She's not really Native American.
Yeah.
And he called her Pocahontas, and he said if she took a DNA test and showed that she was Native American, he would donate $1 million to a charity of her choice. So she, after this fucking test that basically showed she has the smallest measurable possibility
Yeah.
of Native American in her, was requiring him to pay $1
Oh my
million.
God.
Like,
Did he laugh?
no, you should pay Harvard for what you
Them all the
fucking
money back.
bilked from
Yeah.
them. Where school did she go to?
Trying to find the actual thing. It seems I think she actually got a job at Harvard, not didn't go there for education.
Oh, she got a job there
Trying to find
because
out.
of.
I'm trying to find out.
Okay, he'll figure it out. But
That's hilarious.
But the idea that that is something you can lean on is so goddamn crazy. Listen, you're a white lady. I'm a white guy. Shut the fuck up. Okay, you're not. There's not a part of you that has been discriminated against
Yeah.
because of the fact that you're Native American. It just doesn't exist. It's not true. It's
That's
just,
stuff's so fascinating to me.
people love to be a victim. They love to say,
Yeah.
you know, it was growing up was hard because I'm 150,000th Native
It's
American.
crazy, dude. It's crazy. And where does it stop? Like, is it, you know, like, is it cool to say that if you're 2% or 10% or 50%? Like, where is it?
That's what I'm saying. At 1.6%, I really don't feel like I could drop N-bombs.
Right. Yeah, no,
But if I
it's
was
not cool.
10,
Man. It's not cool.
10%. Like, I'm mostly Italian. I'm like 3/4 Italian, so I can call someone a guinea. Like,
Guinea.
No problem.
Yeah.
But Italians don't give a fuck if you call them guineas.
Yeah.
They're like, okay. Like,
Move on.
there's
It's all
no
good.
really,
Yeah.
there's no good slurs for Italians that
Yeah.
work. You know? They've successfully integrated into society. But when my grandfather used to tell me about, he came over here when he was a boy from Italy, and he would tell me about how bad it was, about how much they were discriminated against.
Yeah.
You know, it was hardcore. I mean, they were treated a lot of the same way racist people treat Mexicans today.
And Irish, same
Yep,
thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And that's my background is Italian and Irish mostly. But someone got fucked by a black person somewhere. Somewhere 1.6%. I don't know how many generations.
I guess the claim is that she used her claim that she's Native American to get a job,
Yes.
not to get into
Not to
school,
go into school? Oh, okay.
to get a job.
At Harvard.
One at Harvard, one at Pennsylvania.
So she did it twice. Give that money back, bitch.
Dude, I love the DNA test, though. I love the DNA test. Because
Yeah.
it just proves that we're all, like, something.
Yeah.
We're all a bunch of shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm, like, 30 things of whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, does it matter? Not really.
Shouldn't matter. Well, really, we're all African. All of us, because
Yeah.
that was the original human beings.
It depends who you ask, though.
Yeah. We came from Africa. The human beings evolved from Africa, if you believe in evolution.
If you believe in evolution.
Yes. That's where it gets.
That's a big if.
That's where it gets. Listen, man, if we stop this podcast right now, we could shoot Techno Hunt for another half hour.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Dorian. Follow him at Shane Dorian 808 on Twitter and Shane Dorian. Is that you?
No. I
Really?
don't think so.
Might be a fake.
No,
I
I'm
found
really
a
just
fake.
on Instagram.
Oh,
Shane
man,
Dorian.
I tagged a
Instagram.
fake Shane Dorian earlier.
No, I'm not on Twitter.
This son of a bitch. You got me, whoever you are. Don't follow that piece of shit. Follow the real one, Shane Dorian on Instagram, and your HBO documentary.
Momentum Generation.
When is it out?
It's on HBO on December 11th.
Okay, well,
10 p.m.
we'll tweet it when it comes out again.
Sweet.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Shoot some Techno Hunt.
Let's do it.
We'll see you in a little bit with Sober October recap. Woo!